Chiefs Kingdom. We're about to do a Chiefs live mock draft with 32 GMs, picking round 2 and round 3 for Epic Mock 2026. Let's go. Thanks for being here. I want to shout out Prize Picks for sponsoring this episode. Hit them up. The link is in the description. Go ahead, use code HMA, sign up, get you everything over there. Appreciate them. I'm joined right now by Arrowhead Addicts, Matt Cabot. Did I pronounce your name right, brother?
Not really, but that's just fine. Don't worry about it. Everybody thinks it's chatbot, but I am a real human being. It's pronounced Chabot, which is just about as hard as you can pronounce a name that starts with a CH and ends in a T. But that's totally fine as long as they know who I am, and I don't really care.
I tell you, I could have probably guessed about 10 different times. I don't know if I would have landed on Bo.
That's
BOT.
okay.
But that's awesome. Okay. I appreciate you being here, man. I'm sure everybody's excited to get to talk to us. Price is going to be here in just a little bit. Price Carter, he was on the show on Wednesday. And, yeah, we just kind of got this Epic Mock 2026. Was you a part of this last year, Matt?
I was not. I'm kind of new to this. I'm also somewhat new to Arrowhead Addicts, so this is all kind of like a moving thing for me, but I've been enjoying it for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been fun. We've done stuff kind of like this, but not with Epic Mock. So this is the first year. What kind of happened is they found 32 different GMs. It's behind the scenes, so everybody's like throwing these out. We're doing live streams. We're doing this. We're doing that. All 32 different GMs, 32 teams, and we're all picking on a spreadsheet, and we're going to like pick live. I think it actually kicks off here in about 9-10 minutes. So we'll be able to see what other teams are going to pick, and I'll bring in the spreadsheet so you guys can follow along with it. We'll probably just follow along with our thought process, how we're going to draft, if there's any possible trade up, trade back, and maybe assess the other team's picks too, because yesterday, Matt, it was wild, dude. We had some crazy picks right off the bat. I'll bring in round 1 so we can take a review here. Out of these first 10 picks, well, let's just go first 8 picks before the Chiefs. Which pick surprised you the most out of that first line 1 through 8?
Did Ruben Bain to the Cardinals really surprised me? I've kind of consistently said that I thought that offensive tackle was going to be in their wheelhouse, and Francis Maui-Noah felt like the guy for them. Yeah. And I was really surprised to see them go with an edge rusher, especially after bringing in a new offensive head coach. Just doesn't feel like the direction that they'll want to go in. That definitely caught me off guard, and the Giants trading up to grab a linebacker was also kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was.
But that's what these routines are for. I think that's kind of the point of it, is that this crazy stuff that surprises you does happen on draft day. It happens every year. I said when we started doing this that I watched the Patriots take Cole Strange in the first round, so I'll believe that anything is possible.
Absolutely, man. Like when you watch certain teams, especially these, what I like to see it for, and I'm sure you're going to probably agree with what I'm going to say here. What I like to see is, for example, Dallas at number 10. I didn't know Kenyon Sadiq was even a play for Dallas at number 12. So apparently within the Dallas media, the Dallas whatever, there might be something there with Kenyon Sadiq. And a lot of Chiefs fans were like, look, if you want Sadiq, trade down to 13 or 14 to pick him up. But that's kind of what we always tell people, that if you really love a player, and you don't have to necessarily go down 3 or 4 picks, because if you would have done that and Sadiq would have been our target, he was off the board, and I don't think anybody would have thought Dallas was going to take him at number 12. So is that like one of the more surprising, like, I guess, well, you said Ruben Bain to the Cardinals. I'm with you there. I don't think I've heard anything about the Cardinals needing an edge rusher like that.
No, especially with a new offensive head coach. Kind of surprising to go in that direction when you just went in an offensive direction with your coaching staff and fired a defensive head coach. I mean, their defense is really struggling in general, but that's something you can address later in the draft. Kenyon Sadiq is definitely kind of off, was not on my radar at all for the Cowboys, who have Luke Schoonmaker and Jake Ferguson, a lot stronger of a roster than especially at tight end, than I would expect for a team who wants to go with a tight end. So that did definitely catch me off guard.
Absolutely. Shout out Michael Buckner. I love what you guys are doing. Keep it up. Love this. Appreciate you, brother. Shout out to everybody that's here. I know it's kind of early in the day. Shout out Ian, Brian Parrott. What's up, brother? How are you doing? We've also got Chief 63 KC Mo in the house. Appreciate you being here, brother. Steve Ledbetter's in the house. About time. What's going on, man? And then Robert Miller's in the house. Haven't seen you in a while, Robert. Good for you. Appreciate you being here. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, we're kind of sitting around waiting, bringing this in. Let me see if I can share this screen with everybody. You guys can take a look. Of course, I just had it on screen of who is going to, as who's been picked in the first round. But let me bring this in too. You guys can see this. Let me also see if I can make it a little bit bigger for you guys. I know if you're old like me, you just can't see it. Let's see if we can do it there. Yeah, so right here, you're going to see that the first team that gets the draft is the New York Jets, Saints, Titans, Raiders, Giants, Texans, Browns, and then we are back on the board at 40. There's a lot of good players still in this draft, Matt, because a lot of players got passed up. I don't have the specific who's left chart in front of me to apply it to my big board right about now, but name a few players, in your opinion, that are still on the board that you would be targeting here if you were the Chiefs. And before you do that, I'll let everybody know in the first round, we did have to, because of the way the board fell, we did have to take Jermod McCoy in round 1 at number 9. That was pretty much led by Price Carter. Price isn't here to defend himself, but he pretty much led that one, I think. He was a big Jermod McCoy fan. Me, not so much. I don't even got McCoy rated above Monsieur Delane, but we let Price have that one. And then at TJ Parker, we had considered the way the board was falling that we would have to trade up to get somebody like a TJ Parker because we needed to solidify that edge. But he did fall because there was a massive run on offensive tackles. So with that being said, and our needs, Matt, what do you think we should be targeting here at number 40?
Yeah, we've been talking about it pretty much all day in our chat together, going back and forth about what exactly we're looking for. But I think defensive tackle, the board has really fallen well for what the Chiefs would need. You've got Caden McDonald still on the board, who I don't even think has a shot of making it out of the first round on draft day. I would be surprised if he's on the board at 29 on draft day. Christian Miller is somebody who I think goes higher than people expect, but very well could be on the board. I think if he's on the board at 40, we would be very, very happy with that. So defensive tackle is definitely looking good. Even if we can triple down on defense, that would be a big way to rebuild after some moves in the offseason. The wide receiver board got a little busy at the end there, and so we've been talking about how we may target that in the third round with somebody like Chris Bell if he's still available, but somebody like Bryce Lance or Ted Hurst. We talked about two smaller school guys with a ton of athletic upside and really, really talented overall players. Looking at them in the third round, but I think at pick 40 is really going to be between, pretty much just defensive tackle, or maybe you can look at an offensive tackle. I don't know if Blake Miller went yesterday, but I know Price.
Yeah, he went 26 to Arizona.
Yeah, that's Cardinals.
Massive run on tackles there. You had Freeling, Lomu, Proctor, Miller, and then Ahanichor go in. That was 5 tackles and 6 picks. So pretty wild, but you can almost see in the real draft board shaping up like that because once you get past maybe Max Ahanichor, it does start falling off a lot there at the offensive tackle position.
Yeah, it's the same deal with defensive tackle, kind of a little above that, where, I only really have 6 guys that I would say should go above. They're within the first 2 days of the draft. And there's not a lot of depth behind that. So I think it's possible we see a run on them here when we get up as well, just kind of clearing out that board with somebody like, Grayson Holton might get reached for. Dominique Orange could be somebody who gets reached for at some point in here.
Yeah, the Big Citrus.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of Big Citrus?
I like him. I don't know that I love him for the Chiefs. Tonga's going to play kind of like that nose tackle role. The only thing I do like about his fit with the Chiefs is that he is from Kansas City, so that's a cool thing. And we know the Chiefs like their local guys, but
absolutely
would be fun.
I think looking at the board, I don't think I seen any. Like, it was a little surprise here and there with some picks. But I think for me, if you want to look at wide receiver, I think the fact that it pretty much went chalk for a lot because Carnell Tate going 1, Lemon win as the 2nd, Tyson win as the 3rd. And again, those can be reevaluated depending on who your top 3 is. I think a lot of people that would think somebody that could interrupt that would be Omar Cooper. And he did go right after Casey Concepcion, which was a little strange. I would have thought Cooper would have went before him. But either way, those are pretty much the only round one wide receivers I could find that I would be comfortable enough taking. And honestly, for me, Concepcion would be right at the border there. I think Cooper fits what the Chiefs do a lot. Again, Price isn't too. He's not too keen on Cooper doing what Rashee Rice does, but I would argue that a little bit. I think he does pretty well with the ball in his hand afterwards. He's a monster to take down. I think if you wasn't looking to re-sign Rashee Rice long term, which according to Matt Verderam, the Chiefs are willing to win at all costs. They don't care what he does off the field. So we'll see if that holds true. But if they don't give him a long-term deal here, he wants JSN money. That's what he said on his IG. So we'll see. But I do think Cooper would have been a nice value pick there too. If he would have fell to the end of the first round, I would have actually considered that. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I also would have 100% considered Cooper at the end of the first round. I would consider trading up for Cooper. In the most recent mock draft I did with Arrowhead Addict, I had the Chiefs trading down for Cooper, so trading down from 9 to 17 with the Lions and landing him. Rashee Rice is on a generational PR run where he is just tanking himself online, man. And it's definitely frustrating. But I don't know that he's going to get that JSN money. He might be closer to Dontavian Wicks money, but we'll see about that. I think that receiver is a big need for the Chiefs. It's all about whether the team thinks it's a big need. And I know that Price and I both are kind of like, the team isn't going to think it's as big of a need as we want it to be or as we think it is. I also mentioned earlier the guy that I would really look at in this area of the draft would be Chris Bell, who I think has kind of flown under the radar since his ACL injury. But that guy is somebody who I've compared to like Deebo Samuel as a big 220-pound receiver who moves like a running back, plays well with the ball in his hands. He is that run-after-catch weapon that Andy Reid would have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they've kicked off the draft here. 32, Seattle picked Chase Bisontis, guard out of A&M. To me, that is a surprising pick with all these players on the board for Seattle to kick it off with Bisontis. I like Bisontis, but on my big board, he is rated like 54 on my big board. So maybe I'm just not as high on him as others. What do you think about the Bisontis pick? Did you think he was going to go above like the Caden McDonald's of the world? That seems a little wild.
I did not think he would go that high, but I do have him graded as the top guard in this year's draft. So I am a big fan of what he brings to the table. I think that Seattle is a perfect fit for him, who would do anything to not have Anthony Bradford as a starter next year. So that makes sense to me why they would go in that direction. I don't know which other guards went off the board, but I know that some people really like Pregnone. And
yeah, I don't think Pregnone or Kalen Rutledge, who I have both rated higher than Bisontis. You did say he was your first, so you had him over Oli Ione out of Penn State.
I do have him graded higher over Ioane.
Okay,
I had some concerns with Ioane specifically in pass protection. He is a serious mauler in the run game, but he plays with a really wide stance in pass protection. Faster, quicker defensive tackles are going to be able to take advantage of that pretty early. Chase Bisontis just has so much length, so much size. In my opinion, he was the second best offensive lineman on the Texas A&M offensive line, and he was just really good. My favorite offensive lineman from Texas A&M is somebody who's going to go way later in this class, and I may be pounding the table for him with us later on. If the Chiefs really are considering an offensive tackle, I absolutely love Demetrius Crownover, who is from Texas A&M as well, the right tackle for them. I thought he was the best offensive lineman on their offensive line, and I really didn't think it was all that close. So I think that there's a lot to like with a 6'6", 330-pound guard like Chase Bisontis, but you're going to have to work him into the right offense. And another thing that's worth mentioning when it comes to this draft is, very simply put, this draft is not good. Like, it's not a good draft in comparison to years past, and that is something that we can't lose sight of as we move on. I know that between you sharing it, Price sharing it, me sharing it, there were a lot of people who were pretty upset with Jermod McCoy. Yeah. But I also think that there's not going to be a pick that the Chiefs get at 9 or 29 that isn't going to have some people upset, because there really isn't a player that's like blue chip, flawless, kind of no holes player that's going to be available at 10 at any position.
Bro, you're absolutely right. I think if Ruben Bain fell to number 9 and we grabbed him, there'd be people complaining about it. It's just all there is to it.
Yeah, I've definitely seen people say that 30-inch arms isn't going to play in the NFL. This draft just isn't like the past drafts that were a lot stronger at the top specifically. This draft has some depth to it at certain positions, but I don't think we can lose sight of the fact that this draft just isn't as good as years past, and that's totally okay. You just got to work with it the way that you work with a stronger draft as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm too locked in. Says I'm lost. Where's the draft starting from? So last night we did round one. It wasn't broadcast to anybody. We'd done this in our spare time off of, just with us in a group. Tonight we are broadcasting round two and round three. It is a live mock draft with 32 other GMs. So every team has representatives. They're doing this mock draft. It's just picking up at round two, pick number 33. Basantis was the last pick last night. So today kicking it off would have been, I guess I misread that one. So today kicking it off would have been the Jets actually with Avion Terrell corner. And then they followed up with the Saints taking Denzel Boston, wide receiver out of Washington. So that's where we're at right now. If Price is ready, give me a thumbs up, brother, and I'll bring you in. Okay, he's ready. Price, what's going on, man?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for being patient with me. This had a lot of late meetings this Friday, some job interviews and stuff with some folks. So been a busy day, but I'm glad to be here doing what's really important in life.
Oh yeah, I hear you. So again, to recap round one, let me bring up the graphic that everybody put out for round one, and I'll run you guys through round one last night. So if you see how the board played out, you pick 1 through 8. Sonny Styles going 3 was a little wild. They actually traded up for that. That threw us off a little bit. And then when they traded back with the Cardinals actually took Ruben Bain, which felt really weird. That didn't feel like that was a thing the Cardinals would be doing. So both of our targets, again, I know a lot of people don't like Bailey or whatever, but Bailey, Bain are the two big pass rushers in round one. Those both went in the top 5. Carnell Tate would have been the wide receiver pick. He went at number 6. Caleb Downs was somebody we very much considered. He went number 7. We already told ourselves, Matt, Price, we already said, look, we're not taking Arvell Reese. He's an outside linebacker. We're just not going to take him with the Chiefs at number 9 if he did fall. And then lo and behold, he didn't even fall. He went to the Saints at number 8. So we were literally stuck between Jermod McCoy. I think we had Makai Lemon on a short list. And was there another guy on the short list, guys?
It was Delane, McCoy.
Okay.
And then we did talk about Lemon. And honestly, there's been some things in here that aren't super realistic. The team that was running the Rams said that they would come up for Lemon. We just didn't really think it'd be realistic to have the Rams give the Chiefs
right.
more draft capital. And also they got Lemon at 13. So for that reason, we just went ahead and then it just came down to those 3 players. And I mean, you talk about Jermod McCoy, and I do think that there is an interesting conversation there between Delane, between McCoy. I believe, in my opinion, that McCoy's 2024 tape is the best cornerback tape in the class. And the traits are better, right? No one really talks about it, but Mansour Delane's a little bit undersized. It's not a problem, but he's not the biggest. He's not the longest. He goes out there, shows at his pro day that he is healthy. He is ready to go. It's the highest tools that they've ever handed Dave Merritt and Steve Spagnuolo. And I think that this is pretty realistic too, of just there is a chance that you are just not going to like the way the board falls, in which case you got to make the pick. We wanted out of the pick. We were fielding calls. Nothing was there other than that Rams trade. So instead we just take a good player. And in this instance, I feel like Jermod McCoy is that good player and will be a high-level fit. And you just handed a Derek Stingley, a Sauce Gardner, a Christian Gonzalez to a defense that's been making chicken salad out of chicken shit for a long time.
Absolutely. Matt, what do you think? If McCoy and Delane, if we'd have just decided, look, we're not going corner here, who would you have taken or who would you have been fighting for there? Would you have went with Lemon? Would that have been your guy? Do you feel like 9's too early for Lemon?
9 is a bit rich to me for Makai Lemon. I don't really love any of the receivers outside of Tate, and I don't know that the Chiefs love Tate because of the lack of speed. And Bryce has mentioned several times that the Chiefs have a strong trend of drafting wide receivers with a really good 10-yard split. Tate doesn't bring that. So it was kind of tough. I think that I personally would have been between Jermod McCoy and Francis Maui-Noah, and I wouldn't love either of them, although I think Jermod McCoy is the best player available. That's who I said we should go with. That was the guy that I kind of lead towards. I don't have the medical profile for Jordan Tyson, nor do I have the medical education to understand the medical profile for Jordan Tyson. But the Chiefs, I wrote earlier in the offseason for Arrowhead Addict saying that, simply put, the Chiefs can't take that much risk at receiver. Price said it on a podcast we did before that if Rashee Rice is on the commissioner's exempt list and Xavier Worthy is on the injured list, the Chiefs can't afford to have another wide receiver sitting on the bench next to them with a cast on his leg. It doesn't bring anything to have an injured receiver, and Jermod McCoy is the best corner in the class. I would also have considered Mansour Delane. I love Mansour Delane. I watched Mansour Delane absolutely wax my high school back in the day because he grew up right down the road from me. Yeah. Absolutely killed us. The kid is a very, very talented player, but Jermod McCoy is different. If Jermod McCoy had played this year, we'd be talking about a top 5 pick at corner, and you don't talk about that very often. So getting him at 9 is a bit of a steal. And like I said earlier, this draft isn't a strong draft. You're going to have to take some risk no matter who you end up with.
Right. Look, I think a lot of people don't like corner early because the Chiefs do tend to develop corners better than most teams. Again, on our last video, we looked through, they call Brett Veach the draft whisperer about taking corners. We actually broke down. He has taken 10 corners in 2018 on 10 corners. If you count Shamari Connor, who basically plays that nickel position, we've only literally hit on 3. I mean, that's pretty good. That's probably better than most teams in the league, but it's not as though he hits at such a massive rate that you have to pass talent early. And I don't think you could do that. I think, McCoy, maybe even Delane, that's more closer to Trent McDuffie talent. If it's on the board, you can't say, look, well, we could get a serviceable guy in round 5 or 6, possibly. You got a 30% chance hit right there. Let's pass up McCoy. Because like you said, once his medical's checked out and he actually showed up at the pro day and done pretty well, I think McCoy has to go, 1 or 2. And again, I think Delane has a little bit of size concerns. I'm right there with you. He gets bullied a little bit sometimes in film. So
yeah, to that point. So Trent McDuffie weighs more than Mansour Delane. McDuffie's 2 inches or an inch shorter than Delane, and 8th percentile arm length for Delane, 5th percentile arm length for Trent McDuffie. So, I mean, they're a lot more comparable in size than McCoy. So it's just a different type of player, although this is pretty bonkers. Ted Hurst at pick 35.
You might see that.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Isaac Tesla buzz. Like, it seemed like he was like that guy that just kind of kept climbing up, and then like the Lions really reached for him last year. Like, there just seems to be always this guy that like it becomes the apple of the eye of the beholder. But I mean, him going, let's see, Concepcion's off the board, but Boston then Hurst is pretty crazy. I think this is breaking really good for us. I think interior defensive line is the next biggest need for the Chiefs. This is something that I've kind of been championing here a little bit. You have Omar Norman-Lott, who's played 5 career games, who was transitioning to a different type of role than he was at Tennessee, tears his ACL. There's one of the names I was about to say. K. McDonald goes off the board there. But the
Raiders making a good pick. I don't know if that's realistic.
Yeah.
There's just not really a lot there. Like behind them, there's just not much. There's not much there. Like, you've got Zach Pickens, Chris Jones, Omar Norman-Lott, and Tonga, who plays 30 to 40% of the snaps, and that's it. So realistically, I think defensive tackle is a much bigger need. Peter Woods is off the board, and I think that's the only defensive tackle that won in round 1.
Do you think the Chiefs would want to? Do you think they would want more of the big run stuffer guy, kind of like a Cade McDonald, or do you think maybe since Omar Norman-Lott, they don't know how he's going to return this year, they do want a little bit of juice because they lost Turk Wharton? I feel like that's who maybe they were trying to replace.
It's hard to tell.
Last year.
It's hard to tell.
Maybe they go both, right?
Because they did have Pennell and Noddy, so that's like 2 guys who are both kind of that more of a nose tackle area. It is hard to tell. Or do they want to go for a more penetrating 3 tech? I would like to get a penetrating 3 tech because I think you're overplaying Chris Jones as is. And maybe get a guy who can do a little bit of both, which is why I'm hoping Christian Miller is on the board for us, because that would be
he would definitely be on my short list here. I'm sure Matt agrees. With Terrell going Boston, then Hurst. I think Hurst is a little bit of a reach at 35. Cade McDonald's a good pick at 36. Emmanuel Pregnon, He was getting first round buzz, but I think this is about where he's probably going to settle in, unless some team really, really needs that late in the first or early second. But this is about right for him. The Texans, Browns, and then the Chiefs are on the board, guys. So again, if we look at a short list of who we may want here, you mentioned. Let me see. Let me bring up my defensive tackle big board here. Let's see. Christian Miller is actually my number one defensive tackle, and he's not off the board. Peter Woods was my 2, Cade McDonald's my 3, and then Caleb Banks, Lee Hunter's fighting right there. They're basically A and B. Did he just go?
Son of a.
Yeah.
Son of a.
That's great. Well, look,
didn't they take Peter Woods though?
No, they took Ihanachor.
They took Max Ihanachor. Hey, look, that's a good pick by them. So if Christian Miller's off the board, so he is. So now number 1's gone. Peter Woods, my 2's gone. Cade McDonald, my 3's gone. It would be between Caleb Banks, Lee Hunter. That would be the next picks probably for me there. I still think Caleb Banks is a little bit of a risk. Then
I don't want to touch Caleb Banks.
Right. 40 would be more serviceable than 29, I do believe.
I would be willing here to consider Chris Bell. I don't know how realistic it is that the Chiefs love to target a receiver, but again, somebody I mentioned just a little bit ago is like that serious play with the ball in your hands. Andy Reid would absolutely love having him in his offense. And the Chiefs, we haven't gone offense yet, so I think that is a possibility after the run on offensive tackles. Chiefs aren't going to be looking there. And there's a variety of ways I think that they could go. Lee Hunter is Price's guy. He really likes him, so I think that could make some sense there. Tonga is going to play a bit of that nose tackle role for the Chiefs. He's not going to play every down, but the Chiefs like to have a guy line up in the 0, like 1 tech. They have kind of like a 4-3 odd defense that they run, and so they're going to have a 3 tech and they're going to have a nose tackle. And somebody's got to fill both of those. And I've seen Chris Jones line up at nose tackle way too many times. And our defense, out of sheer necessity, because of guys like Mike Pennell not playing up to par, or Derek Nottie not playing up to par. So I have no problem with Lee Hunter. I love the signing of Chris Tonga. I think that defensive tackle is a huge need.
I'll throw a name out here.
Go ahead.
AJ Halsey. So he's pretty much consensus safety number 4. Most he's a guy who's got a nose for the ball. A dog. The only thing there is you're drafting over Jaden Hicks essentially at that point. I didn't realize McNeil Warren was still on the board, so that would have been who I would have taken McNeil Warren over Halsey, but it's
McNeil Warren just went. I was getting ready to say McNeil Warren I would prefer more. I did not see that he just went. So yeah, we are on the board here. Look, there's over 200 people in the chat. You guys don't be shy. Throw out some names if you think we should be looking at certain people. Again, so Matt threw out wide receiver Chris Bell. Look, I'm a big Chris Bell guy. I live right up the road from him. To me, the injury feels like 40's a little too rich there, but that's just me. I feel like maybe he could fall to 74, but maybe not. We could always consider trading up. If we were going to go wide receiver for me here, I don't know how you guys feel about him, but for me, I think I would almost target Jeremy Bernard here at number 40. I got him as a top 50 player. I don't think he does anything exceptionally well, but I think he's very good. He can be used a lot of the ways that a Rashee Rice can be used. He also shows a lot of good blocking on film that I see, so maybe like a Juju Smith-Schuster type row. That's just me if I was going wide receiver. Again, if you want to talk about his 10-yard split, it's a 1.52, so he's one of the best in the class. So that would be where I was set at wide receiver. Price, is there any wide receivers you like here?
Yeah, it'd come down to, I think it's too early for Brazel, in my opinion.
I agree.
So I guess the question is do we think that 74 is the better place to grab a wide receiver? Because there's still a lot of names that
wide receiver
are
is
on
a
the
deep
board.
one.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of names on the board. I don't know. I keep coming back to defensive tackle.
You could go to Lee Hunter. Lee Hunter's a name that would be, he gives you a little bit of juice. I don't know how much he helps in the run game. I think his lower body's a little thin for what I like. He don't got enough junk in the trunk for me. But
let's put it up to the chat, okay? So is that okay with you? This is your show, man. I don't want to steal your thunder, Mike. Let's do Lee Hunter, Jeremy Bernard, or who's the other name we've talked about? Lee Hunter, Jeremy
I said
Bernard,
Chris Bell.
or Chris Bell. Okay.
Okay, let me put a poll up. We'll let everybody vote here. Lee Hunter, Jeremy Bernard, or Chris Bell. That's the other name, right?
We got 3-4 minutes, and we'll see what we end up with.
And then
Yeah, so just talking about a little bit about Lee Hunter, because we haven't really talked about him. He is more close to a true nose tackle. Had a tremendous season at Texas Tech. Honestly, with him, the pass rush was one of the better for a nose tackle in the league, or in college football this year. Now, it certainly helped that he got to play next to Romello Height and David Bailey, but he has some grown man reps. And it's interesting with him because the way that his body weight kind of breaks out and the way that he is built and tested at the combine, it's not overwhelming, but he's just got country strength. His ability to leverage and rip and throw people around. His film, I mean, he's one of my guys for this draft. His film is one of those that you just sit and watch, you just kind of chuckle to yourself and just like, oh man, like this is borderline comical. So I think you're really setting a tone for the defensive line if you pair him with Tonga.
Yeah, he throws people around. He ragdolled some people in the college football playoff that it was like, what?
Oh, he shut down Oregon's offense in that first half, man.
And when you look at the Oregon offensive line, I mean, he was lining up between maybe the top center in next year's class. I am not 100% sure how to pronounce his name, and I'm not even going to try, but it starts with an L, and that's the center for Oregon. He's lining up between him and Pregnon, which is a really strong interior line, and I watched him throw that center around. I mean, it was truly impressive. I think that he is a really good option. I don't know that it's the flashy pick. I'm the one who brought up Chris Bell, so I will say that my feeling on Chris Bell is that the injury isn't going to affect him very much. Sounds like he's going to be healthy for week 1 even. I know there were some people saying that he might miss portion of the year. I don't think he's going to miss any time at all. And his ability to play with the ball in his hands, I had a first-round grade on him before the injury. It knocked him down a tier. He's in my top 50, but he's not in the first round. But there's not a lot of – this is a draft where you make sacrifices, like I said. I think, we wanted other defensive tackles. We end up with Lee Hunter. We wanted other wide receivers. You end up with Chris Bell or Jeremy Bernard, and things like that. That's just the way it's
with the Chiefs wide receiver room and where it is, I don't think Chris Bell, like having a slow start to the season, would be a major obstacle for them.
Yeah,
because I think even if you bring in Bernard, which is leading the vote right now, make sure to vote in the chat by typing in a number there. I'm not sure how quickly he's going to find the field, especially because, like Tyreek Hill is posting workout videos in Kansas City every day. Like if they sign him, like what is Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver 4 or 5? And that's essentially gluing Jalen Royals to the bench at this point,
Right.
Which, I mean, he's a 4th round pick. I mean, that's you're holding a candle out for that, but I don't know. We'll see. It looks like Bernard's leading the case here.
Yeah, I think that's we'll throw in there.
Sorry, I tried a new poll. The chat's not used to that poll. It was type 1, type 2, type 3. They wasn't very used to it. I actually opened up the back end, put out the poll. I restarted the poll where they just click an option. So now we'll see the actual option. And so it started a little late, but Bernard's at 25%, Chris Bell's at 20%, and Lee Hunter's actually at 52% right now. So
okay, there we go. These are my people. These are my people. Let's go.
So okay, guys, we'll let you vote for maybe one more minute, and then we have to probably make a pick here. I don't know
what do you guys think the odds are that the Chiefs come away with a Red Raider this draft, with how many talented ones there are? Mahomes being an NIL contributor.
You think he wants that Reggie Virgil?
That's who I like.
Reggie Virgil or Jacob Rodriguez, whose wife is a Black Hawk helicopter pilot at Fort Hays here in down the road at Kansas. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's a good fit. There's a lot of dudes.
Right. 30 people.
Okay.
30 people have voted.
Let's type it in. They're getting ready to.
Okay. It looks like to me not enough votes for everybody else. So Lee Hunter wins at 50%. Jeremy Bernard was at 34%. So it looks like Lee Hunter's off the board here. So why did we take? Okay. I was going to say, why did we take Caleb Banks?
No, we did not.
we would not take Caleb Banks. We would quit. You know Caleb Banks is, write it down right now. Brent Beach is taking him at like 29. We're all going to be so pissed.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because like I said with Tyson, and I said kind of with Chris Bell and these other guys, it's hard to comment on medicals when we don't have the imaging, and I don't have any medical background to comment on what's going on with him. But it is really hard to imagine that a 6'6", 6'7", 330-something pound man can come back from this many foot injuries and be the same type of explosive human mover that we want Caleb Banks to be. So that is a tough sell for sure.
So I guess Price is pretty pumped with how the poll went. 50% Lee Hunter. There was about 32 votes. I think if I would have started it there, would have got a lot more votes. I think it confused everybody that had to vote twice. But we got it all lined up now going into the next pick. But that brings us to Jermod McCoy at number 1. Pick number 9, rather. Number 29, we sat still, and we took who was it? We got TJ Parker. TJ Parker at 29, and then now we grab Lee Hunter. So fully defense up to this point. Let us know in the chat if you agree with that. I think wide receivers deep, though, guys. I think we can maybe pick one of those up at 74 with no problem.
Yeah, we were just
Bryce Lance. That's a name that I really like in that area. It would be great if he was still on the board. I know he's got some big fans, but a guy who's 6'3", 200 pounds, close to 4.3 speed, scored 21 touchdowns a season ago for North Dakota State. I know that the Chiefs were hot on Christian Watson. That's who they were really thinking about taking instead of Sky Moore, and then he got taken out pick 36 by the Packers. So that's a name that I definitely have my eye on down the board. And man, Antonio Williams is pretty nice too.
Yeah, I like Antonio Williams.
Yeah, this wide receiver class is strong. This corner class is also strong, which was part of what people said about Jermod McCoy. But at the end of the day, I'll repeat it 100,000 times. This is a draft class where you're going to have to make some concessions with every pick that you make. There's going to be plenty of wide receivers available. I think that if the Chiefs want to add another potential problem into their wide receiver room, Eric McAllister is one of the most talented receivers in this class. Probably not willing to take him in the 3rd round after off-field issues with him. But I think Bryce Lance is a really good option. If Chris Bell's still on the board, he's a really good option. We were just talking about Texas Tech guys. I love Reggie Virgil, one of my favorite players in this year's class, one of the most well-rounded guys who I think can do it all. Same deal with Jeremy Bernard, who I think can come in there. And another guy who I would mention, maybe not the 3rd round, but definitely comes into play in the 4th round, is Jordan Hudson from SMU, who I really liked recently, kind of going over SMU again this year. I was a big fan of what I saw from him. I think he has a lot of skills that would translate both to the NFL and the Chiefs offense.
Okay, awesome. I'm getting ready to – I'm going to start another poll in the meantime. We'll let the fans interact here. With McCoy taken at 9, corner. Parker at 29, defensive end, and Hunter at 40, defensive tackle. What's the Chiefs' next biggest need? I'll throw this up, let you guys vote on this, and we'll keep you guys interactive for the remainder. I know it's kind of slow, but I will tell you this, guys. First round went pretty quick. People were pretty fast at getting picks in last night. I think it's went a lot slower tonight, actually.
Yeah, we took our time on purpose so that the admin chat can actually stay caught up.
Right.
Yeah, and I think, I saw a comment here in the chat about why do this if it's not realistic, and I think there is some value in this, and I agree. This isn't going to be as realistic as a true NFL draft, this just in. We're not going to be able to simulate that sort of thing. But I will say this: every year there are players that I am told you're not going to get that player there. I always come back to this example. I remember the week leading up to the 2024 NFL draft. You couldn't find a mock that didn't have Kingsley Suamataia to the Chiefs at 32. They get him a full round later. Things happen in the draft. Teams reach for their needs. There's people who are more infatuated with certain traits. Trades happen, etc. There really is a certain randomness to this, and there also is value in the sense of picks 1 through 8 were a total disaster for us, right? So, and we wanted out and we couldn't, so we had to stick and pick, and we went with a plan, right? So I do think that there is value in this sort of thing, and it does get a little silly in some spots. We talked about the Cardinals taking Ruben Bain, or what was it? There was a team that paired Kenyon Sadiq and Jacob Rodriguez.
The Cowboys.
Yeah.
They went Kenyon Sadiq and Malachi Lawrence.
Yeah, I was like, ugh, okay. But Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's value in these type of activities, and more than anything, like the fun thing, and I don't know if Mike has talked about this. I mean, these are people who do like what we do, right? These are content creators around their teams. There's a lot of these people who follow their teams year around, so that way, when you see like Spencer Fano at 9 in somebody's mock draft, you have Chiefs fans who actually are like, no, they wouldn't take the shortest arm tackle, like a guy who's got shorter arms than Will Campbell.
Fano literally
right
is, if you close your eyes and listen to the guy evaluate him, it sounded like they were mentioning Kingsley Sumatea all over again. It cracked me up.
I really think, to Price's point, what's super important to mention is that, you know, all of these picks that happened are done by fans of the given team that's there. And as much as we want to say like that won't happen on draft day, and maybe the odds are that it probably won't, there is no way you can count out that any of this stuff will not, like 100% is not going to happen on draft day. I mentioned this at the top of the show. I'll say it again. Cole Strange was a first round pick to the Patriots, and I don't know that you could find a mock draft that had him going on day 2. There were people like, I had a day 3 grade on him. I think a lot of people had a day 3 grade on him. The Patriots taking him in the first round was a shock to most people watching the draft at the time. So it would not be crazy to see several reaches, especially in this year's class. That's a weaker one all around. Teams are going to go and get their guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last few picks, C.J. Allen goes, linebacker Georgia to the Bengals. Gabe Akis is off the board. That's a good pick by Buffalo there at 42. 43, Zion Young. So a little bit of run on edges here. I actually feel like in the real draft, the edges will probably – you're going to be pretty deep on the edge board by pick 40 to 50, somewhere in that range. You're probably going to have the majority of them gone. Spags, you know, would you guys consider – doubling up on edge at any point in this draft, and if so, 100%. About where? Like, what are the fifths? Maybe like I'm gonna think 4 is a little too high there to double, or what do you think?
I think there's plenty.
I think, you know, finding another Mike Dana is the type of guy you're like. Max Llewellyn from Iowa is a guy that I come back to. Is just like going to be a good rotational player. Anthony Lucas from USC's got the Spags thresholds, the length, the heavy hands, not a lot of sack production, but just a guy that can plug and play. And I do think that makes some sense because you are losing quite a bit. And I think, again, like something to come back to, George Karlaftis does not have to play 70% of the snaps. Chris Jones does not need to play 80% of the snaps, right? Like, they can make these guys better. Omar Norman Lott, like I think, you know, taking Lee Hunter frees Omar Norman Lott to be the pass rush monster that he was at Tennessee.
100%.
Because they had, like, this is a tide that raises all boats. So if we start getting more guys in here to our rotation, Caden Curry, someone mentioned him, that's another good name, right? Like we're getting a guy here who's going to be able to play early downs, rotate in, and not be a total sieve against the run, right? And that's like the difference between like taking a 5th round pick on BJ Thompson, where you're betting on the upside in the trades. But this is a guy who can just be a ditch digger, and every roster needs that guy. So I would definitely consider doubling up on the defensive line at some point. I think if we're still touching the positions of needs for the Chiefs, if I would tier them, it'd probably be wide receiver, then safety, running back, linebacker, maybe. I think the position that we're probably most likely to double up on is going to be corner, though. Like if there's a position we're going to double, like historically the Chiefs have come away with about 1.5 corners per draft. Like they've drafted 10 or 11, like Mike said, in the 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, they'll take day 3 guys for sure.
Yeah. So, and I think that'll be kind of fun to do on day 3 for us is find the treatsy guy. You know, I think about the kid from Toledo, Andre Fuller, or someone like that. Like they just always seem to find the Middle Eastern Southwest Valley guy from, you know, FBS or FCS that they'll take it and turn it into a contributor.
Yeah, I'm begging for one of these nickel corners that takes some of the pressure off Jermod McCoy, allows him to go man up some dude on the outside. So I think at some point you can look at somebody like Jalen Kilgore. I don't think there's a chance that he's still available realistically.
It would be tough to pass on Kilgore. Is Stukes already gone? I thought
Stukes is gone. I don't know that Keontae Scott will be there, but guys like Lorenzo Styles and Chandler Rivers bring some of that value.
Chandler Rivers is my boy. Like that, I like him as like round 3, round 4. I really think he does take some heat off of that because if you think back to McDuffie's first year where he was playing a lot more slot, we were getting off the field on 3rd down. That's something we haven't been able to do.
And Kamari Ramsey from USC is a guy I like a lot. Watched him kill my Terps a couple times. But Kamari Ramsey is really good in the slot. He belongs in that area. Would be a pretty good like early day 3 type of guy. But I think that day 3 is the spot where you start drafting less for necessity and more out of who is going to be the best player in the future. Because there is no harm in drafting a 4th rounder who doesn't play the entire first year. If Jalen Royals goes on and becomes a 500-yard per year player, we're all happy with that pick. Yeah, he didn't play this year. There's nothing wrong with a guy like that not being a full-time player their first year and fitting in. So I think taking the best player available once you get to day 3 is kind of the way you go. And you spend these early picks trying to address the biggest needs. So I think we do kind of look at receiver. Slot corner is an option, but I think considering that we tripled down on defense early, offense kind of becomes the priority and go get Patrick Mahomes a weapon. And this wide receiver class and this corner class is deep. So there's plenty of depth. My guy at the corner class is going to be Davison Igbinosun. And if he's on the board at day 3, I'll be screaming for bloody murder to land him, but I don't know that it'll happen.
Did you see the bit in the beast about, because I'm actually writing up Igbinosun right now, which the 100 prospects in 100 days, like I said, I've been writing that since the Christmas tree was up. So it's very handy to have the beast for my last 8 prospects because everything's in one place instead of going to 24/7 recruiting and Wikipedia and
right.
Did you see that he was at practice with oven mitts on to prevent him from grabbing?
I did.
They taped oven mitts to his hands to not let him.
That is one of my favorite like drills that people have done, and I know that my high school football coach used to do that to kids sometimes. So I know that that's a drill that they do. Igbinosun's biggest issue, like to everybody's point, anybody who has ever watched Davison Igbinosun, is the grabs. He grabs, he holds. He did it all year last year. He was the most penalized player in college football. This year, he wasn't even the most penalized corner at Ohio State. So he really, really, really worked on not grabbing. It really showed up on his film this year. He was incredibly impressive. And I think that when you talk about a player like Davison Igbinosun, he did everything we asked him to do this offseason. He stopped grabbing. He stopped holding. He stopped getting flagged. But he hasn't gotten the boost in draft stock that I think everybody said he would get if he stopped doing that. And he really feels like a Steve Spagnuolo type of player. I don't know that he makes sense after taking Jermod McCoy, which is something to put out there. I don't know that I'm going to be in love with taking him until day 3. That would be a bit of a weird
you
pairing.
Double on corner, though. I think 2 outside corners would be great. Igbinosun, dude, what's funny is I actually seen a little bit of Charvarius Ward in his game. That was actually like some of the shades of when I was doing his scouting. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of different ways here. We had Stowers go off the board at 44 to the Jets. Akeem Mesidor goes off at 45 to the Ravens. The Bucks take Jake Golday from Cincinnati, pretty good linebacker there. And then Josiah Trotter got a little linebacker run here. The Colts take. Falcons are on the board. Let me move this bad boy down here. I seen in the chat, they said Stowers at 44 is a little bit of a reach. You guys agree with that? I think Stowers.
There was some love in the chat for Stowers. And, I think with him, it is you have to create for him, right? Like, I think a lot of people, they hear his profile, they see the tools, which very, very special former quarterback. He played quarterback in college his freshman year before he transitioned. And he is on the freaks list, a very special athlete. But this is a guy that Vanderbilt went out of their way to not let block, right? Like, we're not even like the Chiefs had Justin Jolly and for a 40 visit from NC State. He's a push and pester blocker. Like, they'll use him as a puller out on sweeps and things like that. But he's not a guy that they're going to ask to put his hand in the dirt and pass protect or dig out someone on an inside zone run. Stowers, it's like anything we can do to avoid this man blocking was like basically the game plan, which to his credit, he is a mismatch weapon. You get him on a linebacker. He's way too athletic. He's bigger than most corners. But I mean, if you were to put him and Denzel Boston next to each other, I think he's a better athlete, but physically they're pretty close together as far as like what they are as a specimen and what they can bring. So I just don't get the buzz as him for tight end too. There's some other guys who I think have higher ceilings. It's a great tight end class. I would love for the Chiefs to take a tight end. I think that's like 109's kind of always been the pick that I've circled. Like Eli Raridan is my guy from Notre Dame. A lot of people love Sam Roush. And Jolie is a little bit, Justin Jolie is a little bit more of kind of a move F tight end. But yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of guys. This is a good pick here, Chris Johnson. From San Diego State, going to the Eagles. That's a great pick and a great fit.
I'm going to tell you right now, Chris Johnson is going to be drafted, and I think he can be drafted as early as 22
He's getting some round one
25.
buzz.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe he's a first-round pick lock at this point.
I think he would be easily a lock for the first round if he played at a bigger program last season, and he had offers to do so. But he's a legit outside corner as
He's
the
loyal.
Eagles.
He was loyal to that program for sure.
I love that. I love to see that in a player.
Plays press, plays off well, smart, good IQ. Like he's really everything you want. I'm really interested. Like the more I think about it, where this draft is heading and what we have with McCoy, Noah Williams, got the depth of Fulton. I'm really interested in some of these hybrids like Kilgore or Keontae Scott, because I think that gives the Chiefs two things. Like Keontae Scott is so good in the box. And,
oh my God.
And Brugler has him listed as a safety too. So I think you give yourself Jaden Hicks insurance there, and you also give yourself Kader Kohu insurance. And like you just make that a battle in camp right there. I really like that. And same for Kilgore, by the way. And it would be the same for Stukes too, who's best in the slot. He's already gone. But I like that. And then probably that next tier of like Chandler Rivers, where, I mean, we've just seen these nickel defenders. They are super important. And someone with the size like Kilgore and Scott, it allows you to play the run and dime. And now that we've got Lee Hunter and Kyrus Tonga and some heavy hands of TJ Parker, we're making a stew here. And speaking of stew, my wife brought me a delicious jambalaya that I've been snacking on down here. So don't mind me.
The slot corner is the most undervalued position in the NFL, and I'm happy for anybody to talk about that, challenge that. These hybrid safeties / corners who can line up in the nickel and can allow your team to play nickel coverage against the run as well is so unbelievably valuable. Keontae Scott is going to be one of the highlights of a My Guys list in this year's draft. I think that he should be a first-round player, and I don't see any reason why not. He has the size. He has the speed. He reminds me a ton of L'Jarius Sneed when he came out of LA Tech, although Scott came from a much bigger program. This guy can blitz, tackle, cover anybody, tight ends, receivers, running backs. He is one of my favorite players in this year's draft. I also love Jalen Kilgore, who reminds me even more of L'Jarius Sneed. That is the guy who I have compared to Sneed the most. But there's a lot of talent in this year's draft at corner. And to your point, the Chiefs now, what we've kind of addressed, with the exception of corner, we've kind of addressed some of the weaker positions in this year's class, or positions that are going to see players fly off the board. And we still are able to land a receiver. We're able to land a corner later on at deep positions.
72% of the chat says that our next position of need should be wide receiver. That's pretty big, 72%.
Yeah.
I'm with them.
I mean, yeah, it has to be here coming up soon. We got a two-bomb from Flapjack. He says, guys, what about Hingle McCringleberry? I love him. I thought he was actually going to be maybe a day one guy, but he kind of fell out a little bit.
This goes back to a tweet that someone put out that every year Dane Brugler should sneak a made-up prospect and do a full, like, I talked to his parents. His parents said, like, he helped the custodian clean the tables after lunch. Gritty, first guy in, last guy out type of guy. But you gotta worry about the ACL
Somebody
injury.
On X would be fighting for him. That's for sure. Like you'd see it in your chat a lot.
No,
look at
100%.
his relative athletic score. Come on.
He has 12 sacks on the year. We know he can rush the passer.
So there's Caleb Banks. Thank God. I saw my life flash before my eyes when he was typing in Caleb Banks for us instead of Lee Hunter. And I mean, like, I totally get it. Caleb Banks has some really big fans. Here's the thing, though, guys. Like, if you're going through and watching Caleb Banks' 4 or 5 best plays, paired with what he did at the Combine, paired with the tools, you are going to come away with being like, this is my guy. I love this guy.
Yeah.
The problem is sitting down and watching a full game of Caleb Banks, you are not going to be impressed, and you are not going to enjoy the experience. There's a lot of missed tackles. There's a lot of just nothing snaps paired with the injury history. Like, it's just not a risk that I'm willing to take at 40. And look, this just kind of goes back to, I'm more than happy to let someone else find out about Caleb Banks.
Yeah. Here's the deal with Caleb Banks to me. The Chiefs defense is one that relies on discipline quite a bit. and relies on everybody playing their role in a reliable fashion, filling their gap, doing their thing. That's why Chiefs edge rushers don't rack up sacks on top of sacks. They contain a lot of the time, keep things in front of them, don't let the quarterback roll out. That's why some of these nose tackles like Derek Nottie and Mike Pennell haven't gotten a ton of sacks. Really, the defense oftentimes is set up for Chris Jones to succeed and space things out in that manner. And Caleb Banks doesn't bring that discipline because Caleb Banks will abandon his lane. Caleb Banks will try to throw somebody into another lane so that he can get in there and get to the quarterback. And he's a mammoth. He's huge. The upside is through the roof. We saw it with Deone Walker last year. Nobody's going to let this injury make him fall till day 3, but it's going to make him slip a little bit. And that lack of certainty.
Walker fell to 4, didn't he?
He fell to 109, pick 109. Yeah. And that's not going to happen again.
I don't know. Big guys with backs, big guys with foot. It sounded like there's just some want to issues with him, and it sounded like the family got involved with him getting back on the field at Florida. I don't know. You know, like these are things that we're just not privy to, but I get it. The traits are tantalizing. There goes Chris Bell from Louisville. And I mean, you want to talk about a guy who does, and this is not something that I got to, and I want to look at. I've heard that Chris Bell's 2024 tape is much more vertical, that he is doing more down the field this year with whatever the quarterback is for Louisville, which I don't know. I'm sure Mike's probably got a pretty good opinion about Louisville's quarterback play. He basically ran the Rashee Rice route tree. Curls, drags.
His name
was
Moss,
Miller
right?
Moss.
Miller Moss.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know when the Chiefs came down to Louisville, they sent scouts out? They were actually really intrigued watching Miller Moss. They were really like watching him throw like hardcore.
I will never forget, and I think it was it was one of the first games of the year. Rest in peace, Kyron Lacey. He scored a touchdown in this game. The first game of the college football season last year. LSU versus USC. They played it in Vegas, and they like set off fireworks inside, so the game was hazing. It looked like a 1990s,
yeah, I remember
80s. And it was honestly so stoic and pretty looking. Like it looked like everyone was ripping darts in the audience. Like it was a great game. And I remember thinking, like, they did it again. Miller Moss, this guy at USC, like this is he's the next, Kyler, he's the next Lincoln Riley guy. And then he got benched like halfway through the season, and they changed quarterbacks.
Miller Moss, my favorite story about him and USC that whole year was actually they came to play Maryland while I was at the University of Maryland last year. And the only time I was at the University of Maryland College Park and our fans chose to storm the field was when we beat and came back against 3-3 USC. And I simply could not muster the ability to walk onto the field after beating a 3-3 football team. I would be so embarrassed if my face was caught on a picture like that, but we beat Miller Moss and USC, and everybody was so happy. And now he's at Louisville looking at UFL jobs because he struggled. But definitely Chris Bell benefit a lot from with he and Tyler Shuck last year were a lot of fun when I was watching Tyler Shuck. Not as much for the Chiefs, but just in general. Chris Bell is a really, really strong player. Somebody in the chat said earlier, Deebo Samuel 2.0. I would go with Deebo Samuel Light 2.0. I'm not gonna compare anybody to Deebo Samuel because he is one of the most unique players ever. That would be like the mold of the type of player that Chris Bell is, but he is a serious athlete.
Absolutely. Hey, over 240 people in here watching. Everybody hit that like button. Get this out to more people. Share it with your friends. Sub the channel if you haven't already. Also, head over to Arrowhead Addict. Sub that channel as well. Go show them some support. That's where Matt and Price hang out usually. Brandon Cisse off the board at number 52 to the Packers. I think this is low for Brandon Cisse. If he falls to the Packers at 52, that's a gift.
Yeah, I think we might see corners slip a little bit just because, as we've talked about, there's so much depth here. People are going to reach at the positions where there's a massive need. Defensive tackle is thin. Edge rusher takes a drop. There are some good depth guys, but there is a fall off after edge 6, 7, 8 area. Like I said, defensive tackle, offensive tackle. We already saw some reaches at offensive tackle earlier. That's going to see some. The Chiefs might be a team that reaches offensive tackle despite my prayers. And positions like that, I think we'll see some reach. These guys could slip, and there's a lot of talented corners. I have 12 guys at corner in my top 100, so there is a lot of talent there.
Yeah, tackle. We haven't really talked about tackle much. It's very interesting. There's been a lot of dialogue about it at Pick 9. It's ad nauseum. There's just not a guy that I love taking at 9. And, we talked about it a little bit on your show the other day, Mike. And the problem is that there's 7 tackles, and then it is the Niagara Falls of fall off, right? Like, there is no project tackle that you really like. You're instantly going to like rotational project guys who are going to take some time. And there's D'Angelo Font. I was about to bring him up. But it's Hanicher, it's Proctor, it's Lomu, it's Fano, it's Miller, it's Maui Noa, and then it's Freeling, and that's it. So in this area, like, to me, you're just waiting. If you want to take a day 3 swing on a Demetrius Crownover or a Markel Bell, just take some large humans and hope that you can get their feet in shape and hope that they can get away. Well, then that's probably what the path is going to be.
I'm pounding the table for Demetrius Crownover late in this draft. That is certainly going to be my guy when we get around to it. And I think everybody that evaluates this draft is going to have one guy outside of those 6 or 7 dudes that Price just mentioned. They're going to have one guy that they're like, I want that guy when they slips, because he might not make it that far. Demetrius Crownover is probably going to slip. That's my guy. I like him a lot. A massive human, like you said, tons of length. And what he did at the Senior Bowl really, really caught my eye several times, because he was like a fly trap, the way he just like, people were in front of him and he swallowed them whole. Even the guy who we took in the first round, TJ Parker, he gave him some work sometimes and really, really impressed me quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I put out a poll. They wanted wide receiver at 74, so I threw out a poll that says, who would be your favorite wide receiver at 74 if they were still available? Jeremy Bernard is still leading the poll. If he falls to 74, that's a steal. Antonio Williams and Chris Brazzell is coming in second. They're tied at 21%. And then, of course, Zach Branch is rounding it off at 3%. And, of course, I couldn't put up but 4 people. If you want any other wide receiver, I know there's a lot of people that really like DeJon Stribling. There's a lot of people that like Elijah Surratt, Skylar Bell, Bryce Lance even, Deion Burks. You guys can put that in the chat too. We'll see all that. I can only put up 4 options, so I put up the 4. That was the one that are usually the highest on the board.
Can I intrusive thought for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
Zachariah Branch, man.
I love him, but he's like, more of the same, huh?
He is, which means it's probably gonna happen. I mean, I saw like someone on Twitter did like realistic wide receiver comparisons, and it was like, nonsense, like Mekhi Lemon plays like the snake from the Jungle Book, or, stuff like that. And then for Zachariah Branch,
interviews like him too.
Yeah. Zachariah Branch is like, might actually be one of Tyreek Hill's 10 children. And like, I don't know, man, if we're lining up the NFL right now to play tag, Zachariah Branch might win. Like, he is, and my God, like, could you imagine getting a lane on those jet sweeps and stuff like that?
He's a guy to use in the screen game too. I mean,
and he'll be a fantastic kick returner. He was the #1 wide receiver recruit in the nation. Ran a 10, I believe it's a 10-2
blazing
100-yard dash. Yeah, I mean, he's a special prospect, and it's just the fit is exhausting for the Chiefs, right? Like, it's just another guy that you got to create for. And then are you like drafting over Xavier Worthy a little bit, or are you committing to Xavier Worthy being a vertical wide receiver? Because frankly, the one nice thing that is nice about Branch, and if you go find it on Twitter, there's some really cool clips after the combine of him like doing a tumbling routine on the field, like doing backflips and stuff, which by the way, another Tyreek thing. He is more rocked up than Worthy. Like, Worthy is taller than Branch, but he's much more slender.
Thin.
Like, that's the Tyreek Hill comp, which obviously we're not going to comp him to there, but the composition of his body is much more thin. So I do think, same with like Deion Burks. He's another one of those guys that like is a rocked up 160 or 170.
Yeah.
I'll say Zachariah Branch is so fun to watch. And if you told anybody after his freshman season that he would be available at 75, they would go bonkers. I think that Chiefs fans will raise a little bit of concern. Just simply from the tag comparison, I remember pushing that exact narrative about Kadarius Toney, and that did not go super well. And if you're going for Tyreek Hill light, guy who can win a game of tag but struggles with drops, that's who Zachariah Branch is going to be compared to. But Zachariah Branch is a different type of player than Kadarius Toney. He wasn't a first-round pick. Doesn't have the off-field type of issues that Kadarius Toney had that clearly caused the problems or caused some problems. But boy, I do really like Zachariah Branch, and it is 100% right that I wouldn't do it if I was the Chiefs GM, but it is absolutely the mold of what the Chiefs love. Zachariah Branch is a track star. He is a ball carrier. He is a star with the ball in his hands. Great on special teams. I mean,
absolutely.
Dude, his freshman film was crazy.
Zach Branch was a my guy all the way back in like January. I've kind of matured on the receiver. He's not a my guy anymore because I kind of want to see him move away, but
he's the ultimate go home to your wife type of guy, right? Like you're at the bar, you see her, she's blonde hair, she's looking really nice, got that red dress on.
It's type, baby.
Yeah. But go home to your wife, okay? Pay off your tab and leave, okay? You don't need to do that because his ADOT was the lowest in the country. And if you watch Georgia tape, it's like, especially if you're watching Georgia trying to watch Oscar Delp or something, it's like you just hit your head against the table like another bubble screen to Zachariah.
Get out of the way.
Another RPO glance to Zachariah. It's painful. It is, but
that's kind of his thing is he doesn't really have a big route tree. Like it's tough to see what you really got there because he wasn't asked to do. I think he was asked to do a little bit more when he was at USC. But to your point, he's built like a tank. Like he ran a 4.35. He has a 1.5 10-yard split, and he had 20 on the vert, which is or 20 on the bench press, which is literally pretty elite. But to your point, Burks put up 26 on the bench press. So those two are kind of like your comparison. You kind of like your Great Value brand, your Kroger brand. You just kind of go down the board. But I kind of think Branch and Burks are right there in that same little chunk.
Yeah, I agree. They both have similar problems. I mean, Burks had an issue with drops quite a bit at a certain point with Oklahoma. Branch has had the same general problem. I think you kind of classify them as gadget weapons. The Chiefs have 100 gadget receivers, which kind of becomes the problem. Like we all know, we've all mentioned, but we also all know and all will mention that it's not going to stop them from doing it again. They will hammer that until it is pulp.
No, I mean, obviously, I don't know. Are the Chiefs completely 100% sold? Are you guys completely 100% sold on Xavier Worthy right now? Going into year 3? I don't know if you can be. So I just don't think the Chiefs pass up a weapon. I think they would see Zach Branch as a weapon. He's a yak slot weapon. Burks, to that point, I think is a vertical slot kind of guy. Like he's going to be that guy that's going to stretch the field more. I think his route tree is a little better. But go ahead.
I had a day 3 grade on Xavier Worthy when we got him in the draft, or not a day 3, a 3rd round grade on Xavier Worthy when we took him in the draft. Again, somebody that I labeled just as a weapon. He's not a highlight receiver. He's not a starting full-time receiver that I saw. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he's had flashes, but he has also had some lowlights. I'll never forget watching him in camp get jammed so unbelievably hard off the line of scrimmage, and then somebody just lit him up and he was on the ground. But this is the mold that the Chiefs like, and Zachariah Branch is around. I mean, if the Chiefs are taken, we're picking at 74, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
I will be. Yeah. That's the range where I would have taken Worthy in. That's the range where I would take Branch in. I kind of see them in the same general round.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit higher on Worthy. I think what he did over the middle of the field was something that he's not been able to do here consistently enough in Kansas City. And the ball tracking is probably the thing that's been the most disappointing with him. And it was easy to hand wave a lot of that away whenever his quarterback was who it was at Texas, whose name is escaping me. The kid who's at
Ewers.
Miami right now. Yeah, Ewers. Yeah. But yeah, I would like to see him develop more over the middle of the field. And I think some of his best reps have come there. I think, I saw someone use the B word bust, but I think you got to give it one more year. Wait 3 years, right? Like I don't think he's ever going to be a bust because his floor is pretty high, even as just a create a play gadget type of player. But overall, I mean, I think that the returns haven't been what you had hoped for, but he's still the 28th pick. I know that they traded up for that, but it's still the 28th pick. Someone in the chat did mention trading up here right around now to like lock in Bernard. I just like the wide receiver board a little bit too much to do that.
I love
agree.
Bernard. I'm with you. I honestly think the way these guys are drafted right now, he could probably slip. Like this is kind of giving me vibes of TJ Parker last night in the first round.
Someone will
Yeah.
be there. You're gonna find somebody. I mean,
Yeah, so right now the poll has Jeremy Bernard still leading at 52. Antonio Williams and Brazel are like right neck and neck. They're at 20%, tied for second. They've been that way the whole time. Branch, once we talked him up a little bit, he's jumped up to 8%. But we got a 2-bomb here from Slam and Sammy. Says, Chris Brazel, why not just extend Rashee Rice? Do you think those two play similarly? I don't know if they play similarly enough. Brazel is an X style. He's probably not going to be as big as MVS is on the field, but I do think he is a Tennessee guy, but I don't want to just recruit the helmet. He may break the mold a little bit from what we usually see from Tennessee guys. He does have pretty good ball skills.
So he did play at Tulane, right? So
Right.
there he was doing a little bit more, and I'm actually shocked. I'm looking at this right now. Okay, yeah, here it is. Yeah, you do not want to pair Chris Braswell with Rashee Rice. Multiple driving-related arrests and citations for him, including
okay. Sammy says off-field issues, not play style. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There we go. Right, like that. That's the all Georgia team, right? Like that's the joke right there. But I mean, MVS is kind of the comp for him, where it's like 6'3", blazing speed, kind of struggles turning. Also, like the NASCAR comp, it sticks there because he just wants to go fast and turn left because the man lined up in the same exact spot the entire time. I think he took 3 snaps out of the slot the entire season. Like that Tennessee offense is just so strange. And like, again, he did play at Tulane. I don't want to, just label him as the same type of player, but I do think like the buzz for him being a top 50 pick, I think it's a little rich. Especially I just realized this. I've not even looked at it. Does he give you
like Christian Watson-ish vibes coming out of school? Like he's just literally like speed, go get the ball. That's kind of what I got from him because I'm with you. Heupel just lined him up at the same spot every time, which is a wide receiver knock from Tennessee every single year.
There is a reason why Tennessee and Ole Miss, those are the two that come to mind off bat. Players succeed in college and then don't work out as well in the NFL. And it's not to say that it happens for all of them. There's exceptions to every rule. But it's because Lane Kiffin offense and Josh Heupel offenses do not replicate what happens in the NFL. It's the reason why people who are pounding the table for Matt Corral are watching him play in the USFL right now, because you're running a one-read offense with a slant or run the ball, power it up the middle with 2 pullers and stuff like this. Like these different styles of offense where Chris Brazil is riding on the right side of the field, and multiple times people were talking about his effort because he was just walking off the line of scrimmage. And he did an interview saying that was the called play, was for him to just do a walk-off. Like, that's never going to happen in the NFL. They will never tell you to just walk up the field and do nothing. So it's just kind of one of those odd things. And the off-field issues, it's hard to judge any player not knowing them. I'm not going to judge any player based off their worst moment. I would hope that nobody judges me off of my worst moments. I think we all would say the same thing. I don't have a chance to interview them. I wish I could, and I would give a lot better of a report on each player if I could interview them. I remember watching, Eric McAllister and going, oh, this guy could be a day 2 prospect, and then reading the word terroristic threat as a charge and went, never mind. Because those things just don't really jive with the Chiefs locker room at the current moment. It's just not going to be what works. And you don't want to put him with Rashee Rice.
So look, a lot of people in the chat are saying we should give up one of those fifths and go up here and get a guy. Jeremy Bernard is still the highest rated player on the board. What is wild is Colton Hood, McCoy's running mate, is still on the board here if you want to
really
corner. Yeah, I don't see him. I just went and looked at that. I could be wrong.
He went in the first, I think.
Did he?
Yeah, there he is. He went to the Dolphins at 30.
Okay, I was going to say that's a wild slip if that happens. So okay,
if Hood was there, it'd almost be too good to pass.
There went traded Stooks to the Bears. It does look like probably Bernard would be the highest rated player on my board. I wish I would have been able to keep up with who's been taken and get them off my board. That's tough that I don't have that.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I think Anthony Hill Jr., if he's not been taken, was like a number 44 on my board, and Jeremy Bernard's number 45. I think those are the 2 highest players.
Keontae Scott still has not been taken, neither has Kilgore.
Let me throw this one out there just for some different flavor here. Jadarian Price if he's still on the board, do you just try to go all in on this running game here and get, Kenneth Walker, a guy who has needed spelled, and I feel like 74 for price is pretty good value. I don't love it, but I figure I'll just throw it out, see if other people like that idea of like, hey, we're really going all in on trying to get this running game going.
Yeah, probably a month ago, people would have loved that pick. They'd have probably wanted him at 29. I can't get behind it, but look, at the end of the day, Brett Veach has done some wild stuff. I just feel like it's a little early. I
think the receivers that are available kind of change. If I felt like the receiver room or the receiver class kind of went to crap and or a bunch of people had taken a run on receivers here in the second round, and I wasn't happy with anybody that's available, I would instead say Jadarian Price could be an option as just a weapon out of the backfield, especially in the passing game. But I think definitely I'm leaning in the direction of doubling down for a nickel corner or looking at a receiver. Still, Bryce Lance is my top guy available. Jeremy Bernard and then Reggie Virgil would be the next guys up. But I love Keontae Scott. It would be really hard for me to not want to put that pick in for Keontae Scott. And not coming away with an offensive player in the first 100 picks would be rough, and we may look to trade up for a receiver.
Would you guys be at 74? What about doubling down on a Spags got defensive end and go Danny Dennis Sutton?
I love Danny Dennis Sutton too.
That's
so that would be a fun
possibility. I mean, who did we take at 29? We took T.J. Parker.
That dude's a gym rat.
I mean, they're essentially kind of the same size and everything, but
I also love Nadame Tucker, who I don't.
We've lost a lot of talent at defensive end,
but I don't know that Nadame Tucker makes a ton of sense to the Chiefs, although I do have him as a top guy. I would like him more
absolutely.
On day 3.
My brother loves Nadame Tucker. I can't see him
a freak.
in. Yeah, he is. He's crazy, but at 247, I'm like, that's a lot of people throwing out like Romello.
Tough bid
Hyatt.
for Kansas City, no doubt.
I can't have a sub 240 guy setting an edge over here. And
No
I think Nadame Tucker's actually 26 years old. Like he's on the dime, I think. So
I don't know why he didn't play at Houston. I don't know if there's any Houston fans in the chat or anything like that, but they could have really, really used him this year. Houston would have been a playoff team, I think, if he was on the roster. They were ranked. They couldn't rush the passer at all.
It's wild. I don't know.
They let him out of the building, and then he led the nation in sacks along with David Bailey. So
with Jeremy Bernard, Antonio Williams still on the board here, I don't know. Does it make sense to trade up? Like, what do you guys think? Or you just let it ride because you got so many sitting there?
Yeah, I think
because we've named a couple of names here that I wouldn't be mad at doubling up with Dennis Sutton. I'm still holding a candle out for Keontae Scott. I'd still hold a candle out for Jalen Kilgore. Bernard, to me, those 4 names are the names that I all really like at 74. And, all the names on our wide receiver pool are still available too. So I think some people get really hot and bothered to trade in these type of things. We really did look at trading up pretty heavily from 29 because we're like, okay, we want to go get our edge, but the board just kept falling to us and we weren't loving the offers we were getting. We kept having people asking us to give up the third or the third and a fifth or something. And we're like, okay, well, we really want to hold on to the third. So I say we just let it play.
I'm going to look at the draft value chart because I don't know that we trade up here. But I think
there's a good draft calculator out there, by the way. I don't know if you found that, but you can just literally type in the picks and do the math. It's pretty handy.
Yeah. I think I would love Keontae Scott if he's on the board, and then trying to use a 4th and a 5th to try to jump to the bottom of the 3rd round. So 169 and 109 to jump into, 98, 99, 100, 97, 96 range and try to land a receiver because these guys, they're slipping. And Keontae Scott would be a game changer on the defense. And I think if you jump into the end of the 3rd round and get a receiver, you end up having 5 top 100 picks, fill out your defense and get yourself a big offensive weapon there for Mahomes at the end. That's something I would look at, see if any of those teams at the end there, because you're looking at about 108 points of value. So that would get you to 98 or 97 with the Vikings area.
Are either of you guys, we've not really discussed offensive tackle. We had discussed offensive tackle early at 40 if one had fell yesterday. Caleb Tiernan from Northwestern still on the board. I think he's maybe the only top 75 guy I would have left at this point. Would he be a possibility, or do you think his arms aren't long enough at 32 and a fourth, I believe?
He just doesn't move. It just doesn't move the tackle position for me a whole lot. Like I do think there's some value of having that just like guy who could maybe be, boy, 6'8". I didn't realize he was that tall.
He's a monster.
Who
could
He just don't have the longest arms.
It's the issue with him, Proctor, and Nolan Rucci.
Fourth percentile. Yeah.
Tall guys with, shorter arms for guys of that size is disappointing. Well, there goes Jadarian.
Well, I do think he's maybe one of the best pass protectors of the entire class, if that's a value.
I just don't know that. I don't know that it makes sense with Josh Simmons, who's going to be the left tackle for the next several years. I think that's a tough sell. I think I like Crownover a lot. I would be perfectly content just sitting and waiting because we know he's not going to go up here. I'm still leaning in the direction of if Keontae Scott is on the board, that's a hard thing to pass on, and I would be willing to put draft capital out there to go try to get a receiver later in the third.
There's an idea. I'm getting back into the third here.
Yeah, I mean the pick 109 and 148 would get you into the bottom of the third. 109 and 148 would do it.
I don't want to be accused of meddling because my brand is literally Keontae Scott and Lee Hunter. And I fear if we pick that everyone's like, wow, this guy's like actually stuffing the ballot. Like he's just so I will wash my hands of trading up for or doing that. But I do like it. The only thing about
that's my guy. You're not getting any arguments from me. First round player on my board.
I'll put a message into the board here and see if we can get any action here.
I wouldn't even mind doing let's see. Like what would the 109, 169, and 176? Because if we could, you can give up all three of those and then move back into day three and just kind of take a flyer on a corner or flyer on something.
So what were the picks? 109 and what were the picks? 109.
I think 109 and 148 could get you into the third round, or we could do 109, 169, and 176 to get into the third round and then also get like a late day three pick. I don't know which one sounds better to you guys, but
Anthony Hill off the board to the Falcons at 63.
That makes a lot of sense.
Dude, so you guys are still at 74. You're saying you would rather go slot corner over wide receiver if Jeremy Bernard's on the board?
Just because I think you can trade back up, and Bryce Lance hasn't gone. He hasn't gone. Bernard hasn't gone. Williams is still on the board.
So you have Bryce Lance.
Branch is still on the board. I do.
I do not.
I've got Bernard over Bryce Lance, but I don't. I think this starts getting into conversation about fit too. Like Bernard, I feel like it's going to be a really useful player that's going to have a lot of like value, but I don't know that he is going to have as big of an impact on an offense as a Bryce Lance might, as far as like what he can do on the outside. If he were to move on the inside, vertical, horizontal stretch versus Bernard just does a lot of stuff really good. But I mean, I think the point there is more of like, even if Jeremy Bernard goes at pick 75 after we pick, there's another pocket of players that we like, right? Yeah. Different fits, but I think the one question you'd have to ask yourself is like, how do you feel about taking a slot best wide receiver because that's kind of like a lot of what's there with Williams, with Burks, with Branch. Like if you were to trade back up into the back of the third, is that something you'd be interested in? There goes Danny Dennis Sutton to the Seahawks. Boy, that's a great pick. That'd be such an FU defensive line, adding him in there.
Seriously.
You said D'Angelo Pollins went off the board, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he went a few picks earlier, but I don't remember where it was. Probably like 5-10 picks ago. Let me see. So the best corners. Again, we're looking for a slot guy, kind of guy. Yeah, I like Keontae Scott to do that. Anything that can get Jamari Connor out of doing it, I'm all for. Do like Chandler Rivers a lot. Actually, I've got him, Abney, and Everett all still on the board. He is going to be the most slot nickel kind of guy there. Let me see.
I got Scott and Kilgore as the two top slots in this draft, and I like them both in this spot.
Yeah, I like Scott above Kilgore. I do think he's a little more. He's older. He's 4 years older.
Yeah,
he's 25.
Scott is pretty old. Yeah,
he's 25. Brett Veach just never took a guy over 23 years old. There is that going for him.
The Eagles are nibbling on the trade, by the way, asking if the guy said to DM him if we're interested in moving back into the third round.
I'll do that.
It's 109, 148 with the Eagles pick. Would be like literally exact value. So 109 and 148 would be pretty much perfect.
So where are you guys trying to move to?
It would be moving to 98, moving from 109 to 98 to get a receiver at the end of the third.
So you're moving to get a receiver at 98.
Either that or to move up for a slot corner if we really felt good about Bernard.
So I feel like, so you could maybe do
Either way, I think
let's
those
look at the two value. So if Bernard fell, you could go Bernard at 74, and then maybe at 98 you could get
Kilgore, Scott, Rivers,
Scott, somebody like that. Or if you did it reverse, you're looking at 74.
Probably Scott, and then looking at Lance.
Lance possibly at 98.
Okay, so Eagles did accept that trade. So our fourth and 148.
Yep.
To get back in. So I'll put it in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, I think that works, and we can kind of decide which direction we want to go. I do know that the Jets guy really, really likes Jalen Kilgore, and he may try to trade up to get him. And there's a couple other guys. So I think you got 3 receivers with Jeremy Bernard, Bryce Lance, Chris Bressel's still there. I like Jordan Hudson. Antonio Williams is worth a mention. Zachariah Branch is still there. Plenty of receivers there. I think Keontae Scott, Chandler Rivers, Jalen Kilgore. You mentioned Dalen Everett, Lorenzo Styles. Plenty of talented guys in that area as well. So. I really am a Scott fan, and I think Price is as well. I'm happy to hear from you or the chat about what we're thinking. Stukes was the first slot off the board, so they're gonna start going. Definitely not a tackle. I feel good about.
Right, Scott. I like Scott better than Kilgore. I've got Scott actually rated. Let me see what I got him on my big board. I've got Scott at the 65th best player, and I've got Kilgore at 80-something. I'm not the hugest fan of Kilgore. I think he misses a lot of tackles. He kind of reminds me sometimes of Jerry Sneed at his worst. But, I mean, I get the athleticism there. I totally get it. I prefer Scott, but Scott at 25 years old is a tough sell, probably.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I'm leaning Bernard here. We don't even have to worry about it because the Titans just took Scott. So problem solved there.
Oh, wow.
Well, look at that.
There's been some wild,
the Titans are going crazy.
So Dennis Sutton, which was also a selection. So 2 out of the last 3 picks. Actually, Brazil we were actually discussing.
Yeah, there he goes.
So 3 in a row.
So yeah, I think Jeremy Bernard is the. We're 100% sure he hasn't been taken, right?
Bernard? Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
see him.
we should. I want to make
Hey,
100% sure of that.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't see him. I know he didn't go in round 1.
That's crazy.
I'll throw because there is a chance for Bernard goes here because there's a couple of teams in front of us here.
Yeah, there's
our wide receiver needy. What about oh, well, there it goes. Wow, incredible! I was
AJ
literally
Halsey.
about to say the word.
I was getting ready to say that when I was talking about Kilgore and Scott. I was like, we kind of talked about Halsey earlier. Does Bud Clark? I've seen his name like pop up in the chat a lot.
Free safety.
Like, do you guys love Bud Clark at all, or like?
I do think his fit is great.
He can play the slot, I believe. I think he can be a slot nickel guy.
And he is a true free safety, but he's also another older prospect. Like he's in that same bucket of 24, 25 on draft day. And, you know, I do think that the Chiefs do probably take a safety in this class, but this is a bit rich for Bud Clark, in my opinion.
I don't see any. I understand that Brett Veach trends to not take older prospects. Completely get that. I wouldn't shy away from it as a team that needs to win right now and needs to get back and needs an immediate influx of talent. I think that Bud Clark makes a lot of sense later on because of his free safety tendencies. He'll replace kind of what Brian Cook brought. I don't love how he plays in the slot simply because the tackling wouldn't fit Spagnuolo perfectly. But again, I could see it. I mean, Brett Veach does. The Chiefs do weird things on draft day. You never really know.
Yeah, that's true.
See here.
Somebody said Clark at 98, not 74. Absolutely. 74 is too high for the hit. I'm pretty sure. Hey, we've seen weirder things. Like he could go right now the way it's been going.
I think we'll get one of Kilgore, Everett, Styles, or Rivers, and I will be perfectly happy with that at 98.
Can we pause the football for a second? Can we have a honest discussion about the Royals?
Are you watching the Royals game at the given moment?
I actually don't have Royals TV right now. Until the offense gives me a reason to fork over $100, I listen to the games. But I'm not. How do we feel? I feel everything from here down is solid. I get that it's not Royals. Like when I look at it, I don't go Kansas City Royals, but I like the look, and I'm okay with that because some of these City Connects, they're not exactly just city colors, right? The top, the hat, and the batting helmet. The batting helmet looks like a vape that you buy at Quick Trip, man. I can't.
What's the jerseys they're wearing? Is it the one with like the pink in it or something?
Yeah, it's the City Connects, and they are they're cool, but they're funky.
You know that is kind of sick though. Have you seen the hat? The hat's pretty sick, actually.
Oh, see, that's the part I don't like. I don't like the hat, but you know what? I'm also willing to recognize like this is something that people need to realize sometimes. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not popular. Like this might not be for you, buddy. Like if you're 68 and complaining about this, guess what? This jersey's not for you. You're not the target audience.
Is the hat, I feel like, is the thing at the top of the hat supposed to be the top of a crown?
Yep, it's the crown.
Okay. Well, that makes a little more sense. I thought it was like Arabic writing at first. I didn't know we were doing.
The batting helmet. The batting helmet is repulsive though, because the batting helmet, the gradient is much more aggressive, and it really does look like a cheap vape.
Dude, as a pitcher, I would be pissed. Like that bright pink, just right behind where the bat is, and your catcher is wearing some sort of color. Like that would be so frustrating to me. I can only imagine.
I think it's also hard because like we've already seen a better City Connect for the Royals because the dark blue.
Yeah, those were great. Those were great.
Those hats go absolutely hard. Great look, and just like a nice like reworking of the Chiefs' current uniform or the Royals' current uniform versus now you see this and you're like, well, we know you could do much better than this. But I don't know. There's always some really bad City Connects.
I'm not going to hold you. They can wear whatever they want if it means they score runs because
if they come on score if they come on and score 10 runs, they can come out looking like the Savannah Bananas for all I care. Just like for the love of God, hit the ball.
If they don't get it together, they've got so much talent. Like somebody's got to get fired at this point.
I wrote for the Royals last year with Royals Review for a little bit and covered a little bit of pitching development as I kind of transitioned to football, which I love more, I cover more, and I'm a lot better at. But covering the Royals, their hitting department is so frustrating. There is nothing that is going to make me more annoyed than the Royals saying, we have the biggest ballpark in baseball. Let's play the put the ball in play game and try to beat people out and run and steal bases. And then they move the walls in 10 feet. What are we doing?
Like it feels like Zumwalt's kind of like pre-fired a little bit because they added a couple of guys to the hitting coach staff, like secondarily, who are like qualified candidates to be a hitting coach. So I don't know, man. He might be living on borrowed time because he's a Dayton Moore guy.
Dude, they brought in Jonathan India, they brought in Isaac Collins, all these guys that are supposed to walk, and then we just have them swinging at like fourth pitch junk and putting the
Royals.
Ball
that's one of the few things they're actually doing well is walking right now. It's
finally
just they're big guys at the top of the lineup aren't hitting, and then they cannot situationally hit for their lives, which it frustrates me because like everybody's like, hey, it's early, don't worry, like the bats will heat up when the weather turns. It's like that is true for every team. So these games that you're winning 2-1 or 1-0 right now, you're going to not have that pitching performance because their bats are going to heat up too. So
we're all playing in the cold.
Yes, and then guess when the playoffs are played? When it's cold.
Yeah, the other team plays in the cold too, guys.
Dude, we just had a run on tight ends. Max Clare goes 68. Yep. Delp goes at 70. Abney goes off the board at 69. Connor Liu, the first interior player, I believe. Well, the first center off the board at 71.
Did we lose Sam Roush? What happened to Sam Roush?
He's not. He's still here.
Yeah. I love that guy.
The Bills at 73 may be the one to watch here for Bernard.
Yeah, he is kind of DJ Moore-esque a little bit though.
Jim is running the draft for the Bills, and I know he doesn't love doesn't love Jeremy Bernard as much as the next guy. So
good.
I think I would imagine he'll probably lean towards Bryce Lance there. But we'll see.
So I put up a new poll, 74 with the guys we talked about, Jeremy Bernard, Jalen Kilgore, Chandler Rivers. 88% is coming in from Bernard right now. So the people really think Bernard might be the pick. I mean, I'm right there with you. I think he's a very good, at this point, I think he's a steal at 74, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think
thought about him at 40.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we go Bernard here.
So we're just waiting on the Beagles. Does Burrow need another wide receiver? Like, how many receivers can this guy have?
Well, people forget too that they also they drafted a tight end pretty early a couple of years ago. Now he's had injury concerns. I can't remember.
They drafted the kid out of Iowa that the Chiefs took a look at, and he had back
injuries. Yeah, he struggled with injuries. He missed like all of last year after missing most of the season the year before. But they also still
Eric
like
something, right? Was that his name?
Yeah, and they gave it Eric All. Yep. And then they also paid Mike Gesicki too. And you know, like, and that's the thing is like, geez, man, because I forgot they cut what's his name from Alabama.
Oh,
Jeremy Burton.
Yeah, they drafted him.
Jermaine Burton. That's what I was about to say. Jermaine Burton was like considered a big deal for them, like their speed guy.
I for one am shocked that didn't work out. The guy punched a girl when they stormed the field. Whenever he was at Alabama, he punched a girl.
That was a wild one.
So, pretty shocking. I'll never forget Bengals fans like already claiming like they got the better wide receiver than Xavier Worthy. I think the verdict's in on that one.
Yeah.
Sammy says Beagles got to have some bodies in their trenches. That's true.
Dude, the Bengals, the people who are running the Bengals draft for the draft professor over there are like insistent that they don't need guard because apparently Dalton Reisner is
Zach
that
Branch.
guy.
They did take a wide receiver. They took Zach Branch.
That's crazy. They love
Especially
Dalton Reisner over there. I don't get it.
Especially because their slot wide receivers, they've got it. Charlie Jones is pretty useful too.
Brian says Lee Hunter do it at this point. Brian, we got Lee Hunter at number 40.
Do they have Isovash? They still have Isovash, right?
Yeah, Isovash and Charlie Jones is a pretty good kind of just like white wide receiver. You know, everyone needs one of those.
I mean, the Bengals got to keep Joe Burrow standing. It's kind of the same deal as you have with Herbert. Like at some point, your quarterback has gotten hurt and hit too many times. It doesn't really matter if you're confident in the guys there. Like the Bengals guys were saying a little while ago when I was doing a mock draft for them, some guy came on and was like, we don't need a guard. We have Dalton Reisner. We were top 10 in pass protection. I was like, well, your quarterback missed half the year, so clearly the pass protection wasn't that good. Like,
Right.
What do you want me to say? Your quarterback's getting slammed. Like, so definitely they need bodies up there.
Sacks are partially a quarterback thing too, bro. Holds on
sure.
to the ball a long time. He just does. I mean, hey, the results are very promising for him when he throws the ball, but he struggled consistently. And they've invested in the offensive line. Like Mims is a pretty solid right tackle. They picked him high. They're still paying Orlando Brown. They've invested some real resources into the offensive line over the years, and that's not even including what they did when they went to the AFC Championship game. After that, they signed Ted Karras and the other guy from Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Alex Kappa. Good Lord.
Kappa.
They can hold on to Orlando Brown all they want. I love seeing him line up at left tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. It brings me joy.
He's just an average left tackle, though. You know, like he to me is just one of those guys. Like the minute he's your left tackle, you want to upgrade it, but the minute you have worse, you're like, boy, we'd kill for a guy like him.
He's to me, he's just a good right tackle and a average-ish left tackle, and it really frustrates me that a guy that big struggles so much against pass rush with that much length.
Yeah, he doesn't get beat on the inside. You know, that's kind of my thing about Proctor. It's like Proctor doesn't get beat on the inside, or Orlando Brown doesn't get beat on the inside. He's going to get beat up the arc, but not get beat on inside. Proctor's problem is he does lose on the inside when he's that size.
Yeah, this is probably I'm looking at the times for when they're going to get the picks in, and I don't think I will be able to still be around for pick 90 or so I'm going to trust you guys to land that one.
Nick Westerfield, we're not taking Julian Neal at 74. We already got he's one of those. We already got we took Jermod McCoy and we have been talking corner, but we've been talking slot corner. We're sniffing around Keontae Scott before he went. We'll sniff around Chandler Rivers here. We've got another third round pick. We did trade up back into the third here. We paired our fourth and one of our fifth round picks to get back into the third. So we're gonna look at taking a second round or another corner.
Yeah, that I like what Neil brings. I think it would be nice.
Are the Bills? Does anybody know if the Bills are trying to get a trade or something worked out here? Like if they let somebody jump us for
they've
Bernard,
got this super strict timer, except for the moderator of the event. I guess.
If they let someone jump us for Bernard, hey, that's the Xavier Worthy payback, the Trent McDuffie payback,
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, like the list keeps going. They've got a plant over here watching our channel, trying to see what we've got
who we're
going.
taking.
Hey, by the way, over 300 people in the chat right now. Appreciate you guys. We're also on X and Facebook right now, so appreciate you guys watching from there. Get your comments in. Super chats, we'll take those if you don't want to get lost in the sauce. Yeah, like it's went pretty quickly, I think, to this point. I didn't think we would be maybe an hour and a half in. We're almost done with the third round.
Yeah, it's been pretty prompt. And so just to recap, in case people didn't miss it, pick 9, we took Jermod McCoy, the corner out of Tennessee.
Can you explain that to a price? Because a lot of people are saying that's a reach. That was the dumbest pick ever. Explain that.
Well, so the top 10 was just a disaster for us. You have obviously Mendoza goes 1. Number 2 was David Bailey. 3, the Giants trade up for Sonny Styles, which was aggressive. Jeremiah Love goes at 4. The Cardinals trade back to 5, and they take Bain. And then the Browns take Carnell Tate. There goes Caleb Downs. And then even if you were someone who liked Arvell Reese, we weren't particularly high on him. He goes at 8. So then we're sitting here at 9. We tried looking out of the draft or to trade back, and the only team that sniffed around was the Rams. And we thought it was a little silly for us to take more draft capital from the Rams whenever that, it just didn't really feel realistic. So then we came down to Mansour Delane, Jermod McCoy, or who was Mekhi Lemon. And those were the names we talked about. And, I think with the news of Rashee Rice, I think the need for a guy like Mekhi Lemon goes down a little bit. Are they
Bryce Lance?
I see. Okay, they took Bryce Lance. Okay, I mean, hey.
Run the pick in.
I thought, honestly, you said he might go Bryce Lance, but I was about to get really pissed off. I was like, are they really going to do this?
No, I told you.
I'll type it in now.
Jim likes Lance more.
I mean, honestly, that took out every single person we discussed right there, right before Bernard. So Bernard was still our number 1 guy, and we still got him. So I think that was a pretty good
That's pretty much what happened with
Look,
TJ
Jeremy
Parker
Bernard. I really like Jeremy Bernard. I know a lot of people are like, "Hey, look, Jeremy Bernard, he's not sexy. It's not like he's not the best at anything." And I'm absolutely right there with you. Like, I don't think he's the best at a lot of things, but I think my comp for him was a mixture between Byron Pringle and like Adam Thielen. That was kind of like what I seen out of him. And I think he does a lot of good stuff right. He was a running back in high school. He's taking snaps out of the field with Alabama. Alabama. I think he's a very technical route runner. He knows how to set up defenders. He creates separation. He uses subtle fakes, sharp breaks. He understands leverage. He gets after as a blocker. I like him all around. I think he's a pretty good fit for what we like to do.
17 forced missed tackles after the catch this year. One of the few players in the class that has that special 10-yard split of the 90th percentile or more. Something that Brett Veach has never drafted a day one or day two wide receiver without a 10-yard split in the 90th percentile.
Right.
You know, leaning into that West Coast offense where we're going to get the ball and we're going to get uphill. Jeremy Bernard also, like, he is now the Chiefs' biggest wide receiver. Like, I think he has this reputation of not being very big. And like, yeah, he's not Denzel Boston. He's not 6'4", 220, but he's 6'1", 204. So he's about an inch taller than Rashee Rice, who came in right at about 6'0", 200. Jalen Rose is about that same size too. So you're not drafting some slight guy. To me, the role that I see for him is kind of what they envisioned for Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
What he actually did. I think at the beginning they wanted to have these two field stretching demons to open things up for Rice and Worthy. And then they got Hollywood Brown there like, oh, you are no longer a 4-4 guy. You're a 4-6 guy. But just to be that Z over the middle of the field, like my favorite route that Bernard runs is a dig. Seeing him over the middle of the field, like if you want to talk about the tape that Dan Orlovsky was watching of Ty Simpson that had him thinking QB1 for him, it involves a lot of those digs and intermediate crossers to Jeremy Bernard, and he's not afraid to go over there. And he doesn't drop the ball.
6.713 cone as well. So that was like the fastest, I believe.
When you talk about Jeremy Bernard, and especially when you talk about him where we got him in the third, there goes Roush, dang. When we talk about him where we got him, you're not drafting to land a superstar, full-time X wide receiver, take over the game type of guy. Jeremy Bernard is exactly what a championship team needs. If any of the Chiefs wide receivers get injured, whether it's Worthy, whether it's Rice, whether it's Thornton, whether it's Royals, it doesn't matter. Jeremy Bernard is a plug-and-play player at every position where you would line up a receiver. He is capable of playing X. He's capable of playing Z. He's capable of playing Y. He's not a superstar at any of them, but his plug-and-play ability, able to separate early with quick feet, early routes, good burst, in and out, separates so well. I think that's exactly what the Chiefs need, is that type of depth in their wide receiver room. With him and Jalen Royals, who I think can do a similar thing. You got two guys, right. And like this gentleman in the chat just said, Jeremy Bernard does not drop passes.
No, he's dropped like two in his entire career or something like that.
Need reliability in that wide receiver room. Somebody Mahomes can get the ball to and trust.
Right. Slim and Sammy says Jeremy Bernard pick just made all other teams' fans groan and say they can't keep getting away with this.
Yep.
Best kind of pick to make. Yeah, I really like the Jeremy Bernard pick. I think it's solid right there. Again, you mentioned he doesn't drop. He lines up everywhere. That's what's going to get you on the field in an Andy Reid offense in your first year, which might have been, besides the tendonitis, might have been the thing. Could that team not
Jake
afford?
Price said, how's his driving record?
Yeah. Look, that was another thing I wanted to bring up. Jeremy Bernard is actually a really good kid. I don't think you got to worry about the off-field stuff with him. He seems pretty solid.
Huge.
Yeah, that's great for us.
Even if Tyreek Hill comes in.
There's a pretty good chance that he might be the best blocking wide receiver the Chiefs have on the roster, unless they bring back Juju. Brugler mentions here in the Beast that mature, carries himself with a professional attitude, NFL scout, own that receiver, and is popular in the room. Got to keep in mind, too, the Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer offense. They've developed some really good wide receivers in the league, right? They put in Jalen McMillan, Jalen Polk, who got drafted and hasn't panned out, Roma Dunze. They've got a reputation, and some of that offense crosses over to what helps to develop Denzel Boston. So it's interesting. Some interesting names here. Malachi Fields.
Yeah, what a wild pick there. Why did we just run on safeties all of a sudden?
One, to the Ravens is crazy. Two, remember when Malachi Fields is the perfect example of somebody overreacting to the Senior Bowl?
To the Senior, I know.
Dude, the people, was it
round one. He was going to the Bills.
It was Daniel Jeremiah who put that man in round one.
And McShay. McShay was very
McShay was just completely like he was horked up. They're talking about Malachi Fields.
Yeah, Mickey Moonrack, we took just to recap the picks one more time. We took Jermod McCoy in the pick 9. We took TJ Parker at pick 29. We took Lee Hunter, the nose tackle out of Texas Tech, at pick 40, and we just took Jeremy Bernard with the wide receiver out of Alabama. But good news, don't go anywhere. We got another pick coming up here at pretty 98. Soon. We traded back into the third here. We're thinking, we might double up here at corner. We've talked about getting kind of a safety corner hybrid potentially. We've also talked about maybe looking around tight end, although we're getting a run on them here. We've had Sam Roush. We've had Oscar Delp. There goes Michael Trigg. I don't know about you guys, but I am not a fan of Michael Trigg. I'll let someone else.
Didn't he get kicked off of the team he was with before Baylor? Like
there was something there too, and he just not like I don't think he just had the catch point. Yeah,
dude, he's the Caleb Banks of tight ends. Where if you go and watch a highlight reel of Michael Trigg, you're gonna go like he's crazy. How did he make that catch? He has some of the craziest hands. Right. Or Keon Coleman, even that type of receiver. And I did like Keon Coleman coming out of college as a brutal swing and a miss. But Trigg has huge hands, pretty good athlete, makes some of the craziest catches you'll ever see, is a reliable pass catcher, and that's it. He can't block, can't play in line. It's horrible. Not what the Chiefs want.
His cons, like this is some cons I had for him. Like, see, I'm sure you guys are going to agree. I said he runs into too much contact because his route slowing momentum is just horrible. He doesn't sink his hips very well. He gives up initial leverage. Focus drops. I think he had a 12% drop rate in 2025. He has no special teams experience. He flamed out at 2 Power 4 conference schools, and he quit on Ole Miss. Like, I just cannot. I think he was suspended after the BYU game for disciplinary reasons.
Yeah, I'm reading on somebody,
right?
That's not in the Beast, but he got into an argument with the athletic director about a undershirt that he was wearing. The athletic director didn't like him wearing an undershirt, and he was suspended for a game.
He's also 24 years old, so he's on the higher side for what we would do.
So if we're talking tight end, if he's still on the board, Eli Raridan's my guy. I really like him. He's 6'6", 240, really good over the middle of the field, tracks the ball well. The reputation that Notre Dame tight ends have as far as like digging out guys in the run game, he's a big part of why Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love had the seasons that they did. He has a ton of NFL bloodlines. His grandpa was the weightlifting coach for the national championship team back in the 90s. I believe his dad played college football for Notre Dame, and his uncle was in the NFL too. So lots of things like there. He's a freaks list guy, posted a 9.4 relative athletic score. I really like Eli Raridan. He's a guy that I might climb on the table for here.
Really quick.
He's a big, tall guy too. He's massive.
In some non-Chiefs news, there's a kind gentleman in the chat reminding us that the astronauts made it home today.
Oh, good deal.
So that's a cool story.
My toxic trait is I actually listened to Project Hail Mary on vacation when I drove 18 hours to Clearwater and back. Nice. And I'm just not moved. Like, you guys just flew around the moon. No astrophage, no no Petrova line. You didn't bring home Rocky. Like, just not moved. Sorry.
You didn't leave somebody behind. Like, what are you doing?
Just not moved.
Martian.
Was the book worth reading? I did watch the movie, the Ryan Gosling movie. It was incredible. I thought
the audio book, the author for the audio book, and I've not seen the movie yet. I'm waiting to watch it with my wife, but
it's worth watching for sure.
There's so many like different nationalities, and there are like tons of people with different accents, and then obviously the voice effects that they do with Rocky, the narrator of the audio book, just did such a good job. Like all the accents, the effect that they use for Rocky is great. And then I haven't seen the movie, but I'm guessing because I've seen The Martian that they have Ryan Gosling do a lot of like video logs where they kind of like day 23, this happened with me and Rocky or whatever. And then they go to a montage of him and Rocky doing something. All of that is inner dialogue in the book where it's basically him talking to himself. So you get a lot more character for him where he's kind of, this kind of coy, savvy, like former teacher. Like it's great. It's great. I thoroughly enjoy. In fact, I'll put it to you this way. I enjoyed it so much that I like to listen to something when I go to bed. I'll pop in an AirPod as I sleep, and I've been re-listening to it because it's so good.
I'm telling you right now, I see Steve in the team chat. I promise you he's trying to jump for Kilgore right now. I promise. If the Jets jump up, I promise it's for Jalen Kilgore.
Dude, we got a 2-bomb from Joshua Vasquez. 2-bomb says, is it time for a running back? What do you think? I think it's a little early.
Maybe in the 4th.
Would you consider, I know a lot of Chiefs fans, you guys are on X, a lot of Chiefs fans are just absolutely in love. It was Jadarian Price, but it's a lot of these days Mike Washington.
Love him.
Yeah.
He and Jonah Coleman.
We jumped back in at what, 98? Is 98 too early for Mike Washington, would you think?
I don't think so. I mean, this is basically a compensatory pick. Like, this is a tacked on 3rd-round pick, right, that is right before the 4th. So I don't think it's too early. I just, with him, I wonder a little bit about the fit for the Chiefs because he's best in gap schemes where he is just going downhill. And because the vision's good, not great, but able to hit a lane really well. The power is exciting, but I don't know. Like, if I were to take a running back in this area, I'd probably lean Jonah Coleman or Emmett Johnson as better fits for the Chiefs. I like Coleman because I think like he has a real opportunity on 3rd downs.
Yes.
And he is a guy who's got really good vision. Yeah.
Hey, he said it himself. And he fits in line like the great CEH.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah. And I do, that Chiefs fans would not like that pick because that would be one of the things that they bring up. But I mean,
he's got a little bit of burst. Like, he had some legit burst to get to the same level every once in a while.
Dude,
I would probably wait a little bit.
I also would wait because I think slot corner is more important, more valuable, and there's more talent on the board. And I think running back has some depth to it. But dude, if you're a blitzing linebacker, Jonah Coleman strikes fear into grown adult men.
I've watched him put Sonny Styles on his ass a few times.
Seriously, like he'll forklift people off the ground and throw them down.
Well, who do you guys prefer over Katron Allen or Emmett Johnson? I know Price is an Emmett Johnson guy. I've got Katron Allen a little bit higher on my big board, but I'm sure Emmett Johnson's the guy here.
Very close together on my board.
Yeah. With Emmett, like Emmett's got the best passing profile of any back in the class as far as like what he was asked to do. Like, they'll line him up out of the slot, they'll motion him in. He'll do more than just like he'll run a Texas route, he'll run a shallow cross, do the flats, he did a lot in that offense. And I think his ability to run inside or outside of the tackles is something, and a lot of people are going to knock him for his athletic testing. He's one of the very few players at the combine that did everything. So whatever his relative athletic score, it is real. And we have seen guys come into the league and be qualities.
People are picking and choosing what they're good at to get higher.
I hate that. I hate that. Yeah. I hate it so much.
I wonder if it's hard because the college players are not part of the NFLPA. Right. I think what they need to do is, like, if you're going to accept your combine invite, you need to test and do everything, or else you can't come. So you don't get that positive pub of coming to the podium, talking to NFL teams, because you want to be invited to the combine for that exposure. But if you're coming, you need to at least do, like, at minimum these drills. But it's hard because, like I said, they're not part of the NFLPA, so that's not something that can be collectively bargained.
I think even if you do come to the combine and you don't participate in everything, I think that people who calculate RAS need to change the way RAS is calculated so that it's not factored in, but if you don't test, it should grade as like 50th percentile, just dead average. Because like, if you didn't do it, like who's to say, right? You should be 50th percentile. I don't think you deserve to get a boost just as if it didn't happen, because if you go out there.
I like how they had the quick trigger on us, and this pick is a minute late, and they're not typing. Panthers.
I mean, Tez Johnson last year. If Tez Johnson last year didn't do the bench, and we're just going to pretend like Tez Johnson can do, 20 bench press reps, that's just delusion. Like
so someone in the chat put something about Brashard Smith. I am the legend of Brashard Smith, man. Like, and maybe it's a meme at this point. I posted some Kenneth Walker highlights the other day, just basically every explosive highlight that he has on NFL Pro. someone said like, there's no reason Brashard Smith can't do all this. And I was like, what
What
are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's one of those things like you need to see a guy fail before. Because, like, man, I remember a couple years ago, Chiefs read it and a whole bunch of people got really mad at me because I literally said the Chiefs could trade for Isaiah Pacheco or Kareem Hunt today back when he was with the Browns, and he would be a better back than Kareem Hunt or than Isaiah Pacheco. And this is coming off the 2022 Super Bowl. Isaiah Pacheco is still this great story. Everyone's like, I mean, people were like, I will find your family and I will Liam Neeson you for saying this. And now, like, everyone's like, please get Isaiah Pacheco off the field for like 31-year-old Kareem Hunt. So, like, maybe people just haven't seen Brashard Smith fail yet for him to become not the guy. But I like him, but I think he's a lot closer to Dexter McCluster, DeAnthony Thomas than he is, Kenneth Walker.
He's a pass catcher and a pass catcher only. He's not. You don't want to see him run between the tackles.
Nate Taylor had something. It was a stat which I had never thought to pull. Basically, like if Juju Smith-Schuster and Brashard Smith were on the field together, they ran a screen at like a 56% clip. It was like a massive tell. If those two guys were on the field together, you knew it was a screen.
Yeah.
Well, are you watching a Royals game?
I am, and I just watched Isaac Collins get thrown out at second, and I have to bounce out of here anyway, because I'm going to meet some of my coworkers, and I was not sure exactly how long this was going to last, so I'm going to let you guys stick to it, not take up too much more of your time. Let's see. I'm going to quickly say that my best available players that I would lean in the direction of going for. What just happened to my screen? Would be Igbinosun, although I don't know that you want to have him play in the slot, Dalen Everett, Lorenzo Styles, and Chandler Rivers. And I think that those slot corners are going to be the guys that I would target with this trade up.
Okay. Well, thanks for collabing with us. Tomorrow will be entertaining. With these picks because they kind of go fast and furious. But it's been fun, fellas. It's been good. Appreciate it. And Matt, thanks for hanging out, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It was nice to work with you. I don't know that I'm blanking on your name at the given moment, but Mike, it was that's what it was.
How do you not know the infamous Mike
dude? Right,
from All Chiefed Up. What do you do?
Wait, are you all or are you chiefed up? Which one are you?
I'm all three. Up? Steve's not here.
The thing is, I've watched your podcast many times, and somehow I don't remember your name, which is so crazy.
People they'll mix me and my brother up anyways. Like I get called Steve a lot anyway. So
I appreciate you having me on. I look forward to working with you again sometime in the future.
For sure, man.
This was nice. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
You too, man. Be careful.
See you later.
And then there were two.
This is breaking pretty good for us here. We're getting a nice like linebacker interior offensive line run here.
I think now that Matt's gone, we talk about what we really wanted to draft here, and that is an interior lineman. I think it's time to go interior. We just had Bo Stevens go off the board, so we better hurry up.
I have not watched a single interior offensive lineman in this class, and I frankly don't care.
You're like, I'm not even going to watch him.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very good feeling about Ioane, and I think he's going to be a great player. But I know I probably should, like the true draft person in me probably should, but I just can't bring myself to care.
Andy and them could possibly take a stab, but I feel like it's going to be really late. I think maybe Cage Casey. I know you've watched him. I think he could maybe slide down into guard.
I do like Casey, and his length is adequate enough to like. I think he could be a guy who could play all five. Like he might actually.
So I think he could actually be a good pick. Like that could move up.
There goes Justin Jolie, which the Chiefs had a 30 visit with him. He was actually like I was about to bring him up at the tight end position because I was like tight end might be a good spot for tight end. Let's see here.
Chiefs 63 KC Bill. Yes, Steve's going to be joining as soon as he gets off work. He usually can get home around 8:30 to 9, so he's going to pop in just a little bit. We may be done by then though. The way this thing's going.
Yeah, it's cooking along.
Price, are you a big fan? I know we've been seeing this a lot. Are you a big fan of Landon Robinson from Navy? Have you got to watch any of him?
He is actually like I've written out the last couple of players I'm going to watch. He is on my list. He's pretty small. I was looking at his measurement. He's like 6 foot, or he's like 5'11", 298 or something.
He
God,
is his
he's pretty small from.
actual like stuff come in at 5'11", 293.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was pretty small. I will definitely.
He's worked a lot
I'm
with
gonna take
Aaron
a look at him.
Donald. Like that's kind of like his thing. So it would be
Oh,
kind
is
of like
it?
a
Yeah.
Turk Wharton kind of thing. But yeah, he's worked with Aaron Donald a little bit. I think he's
And I know
pretty crazy.
Caleb Proctor from South Louisiana State. He kind of falls into that same bucket of like penetrating
absolutely.
3 tech that there's just some concerns about. What does this look like at the next level? Both guys, I try to take a look at Caleb Proctor. The all-22 that I have of him is like shot from a Motorola Razor. Man, I can't look at this.
You can't.
I cannot
like the only
at
thing I could find was I think I found one game. I don't remember where I even found it at. It wasn't like the best. Like you said, it looks like it was filmed from like just I don't even know. I think an iPhone would be a better film.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they have. Like a 1990s handheld camera that you would watch like Full House on or something.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember watching the all-22 from Brazil, and when the Chiefs played in Brazil, and it was shot from like the depth of Chris Kyle, like American Sniper. Like that thing looked like it was 2 miles away. Just slamming Sammy Jones. Josiah Trotter went quite a while ago.
Yeah, Josiah Trotter went. Here, I'll scroll it for you. Here, I'll just run through round 2 really quick for everybody that's joining us. In round 1, we picked McCoy. We picked TJ Parker at 29. So round 2 started off kind of hot. I don't even know if Price got to see these. Avion Terrell, Boston, and Hurst went right off the top. I thought Hurst was a little bit of a reach. Cade McDonald was a great pick at 36. Prenion Miller was a target for us, so that was a good pick by Houston. McNeil Wharton, we ended up getting Lee Hunter. Then it was C.J. Allen, linebacker, a couple edges, and Akis and Young. Stowers went off the board, another edge, Mesidor. Then we had a run on Golday and Trotter. So Trotter went 47 to the Colts. Then with what could have been the steal of the draft so far was Chris Johnson at 48. That's insane that he fell that low. Caleb Banks, Kyle Lewis, Chris Bell. I think 51. For me, I think 51's a little rich on Chris Bell. Do you feel that too or no?
It just depends about the injury, like, and what you're asking him to do.
That's what I'm scared about is the injury.
If you're an offense that's hoping to get him to contribute in year 1, it feels rich. If you're a team that just really loves the upside and you've got a place for him to develop, not so much. The tools. I mean, to be able to move the way he does at 6'2",
do you think
220 pounds.
Could the Chiefs survive? Are we one of the few teams that can survive taking him around 40 and kind of stashing him till he's completely healthy?
I think so. Big deal? It would not shock me in the least. Like just his usage. The after the catch ability with him, and I mean, I think even we drafted Jeremy Bernard. I think there's a real chance that Jeremy Bernard would play
even getting the 29th pick. If we don't trade up in the first round and lose that second first rounder, you could basically take a flyer on 40, just let him sit out all year if you had to, and then if you can't get Rice back, he does that role pretty well. So then the draft went Rutledge, Pons. Jennings Dunker, Darrell Jackson, Grayson Halton, Derek Moore, R. Mason Thomas, so a couple more edges. Then trade in Stooks, who we were kind of looking at. Ty Simpson, Jadarian Price went off the board. Anthony Hill, Danny Dennis Sutton, who we were looking at. Brazel, Keontae Scott, AJ Hossey, Max Clare, Abney, Delp, so we had to run on some tight ends. Lou Branch, Bryce Lance, and then we took Jeremy Bernard. And then after that, we had a couple safeties, 3 safeties in a row went off the board. Trigg, Antonio Williams. In the last few picks have been Justin Jolie at tight end, Caleb Tiernan come off the board at tackle, Caleb Douglas from Texas Tech at 88. I think that is a huge reach. I'm not for sure where you have him ranked on your board, but
nowhere close to there.
Nowhere close.
I want to throw a name out here. Have you had a chance to watch Jayshawn Barham?
Michigan, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think he's more of an outside linebacker, but I think they might try to stand him up and rush the passer a little bit.
So he played off and on the ball for Michigan. Yeah. Great athlete, lots of tools. I don't know. He's one of those you could talk me into in this range to play a Sam type of role. Like in this defense, I think he'd be a Sam, and then you could line him up because he's got the power to mug up a gap. And I think you really could do a lot of Leo Chanel things for them. And this would be a good range for him.
Yeah. Look, I actually had that as one of my things. I said that he could rush the passer from all over the place, all the way down to the A and B gap and mug fronts. That was exactly one of my things for him. So Look, I think he's pretty decent in coverage. He's experienced there because he was a former linebacker. The Chiefs have talked to him. Like, they met with Jay Sean Barnum earlier in the process. So
At the combine, yeah.
yeah, so I mean, it's a possibility. I don't think it's crazy to double up on any kind of pass rush. Anybody that can get after the passer makes our corners better.
Yeah, I'm kind of him. I still like the fit of Kilgore. Wait,
I would
Kilgore
say
didn't
him,
go, did he?
Kilgore. If you don't think Chandler Rivers is too much of a reach here, I love Chandler Rivers as a slot guy. I think he can do it, and I think he'd actually play outside a little bit as well. So if you needed him there, I think he's good. That would be like my three. I'm not for sure.
I think if we take, I personally think if we take a slot, I'd take Rivers. I think Rivers is just more Kilgore's more tools. Rivers is more like feisty. He plays like how everybody wants your slot corner to play.
Oh, absolutely. I love Chandler Rivers. He's my favorite. Matter of fact, Chandler Rivers is my. You may laugh at this. Chandler Rivers is my. Let me see. I want to get the exact ranking here. He's my CB 10, so he's just behind Abney, Terrell, and Everett, right in that range. I've got him right above Charles Demings. So I don't know if you've got to watch Charles Demings out of Stephen F. Austin, but I kind of like his stuff. And then on the big board, he is actually ranked. Jeez, on my big board, he's up there. Let me see. Where is he? I want to make sure I get this right. I don't want to say something stupid. Dude, where's he at? Oh, he's number 87 on my big board, Chandler Rivers. So, I mean, that's about the range we got him. Takario Davis and LT Overton. Look, I will not be sad when LT Overton goes. That way it untemps Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah, he just went to the Bears here.
Thank the Lord.
But yeah, he's another one of those guys that's just like classic tweener. Definitely one of those guys that they'd be around. This feels really rich for Takario Davis.
Oh, I know that, absolutely. He's like a round 4, round 5 guy at best.
Yeah, I know the tools are really nice with him, but I think Prasock might have been the better Washington corner.
Yeah,
there goes Kilgore. The Cowboys.
Did Jonah Coleman get picked or no? I'm trying to update my big board here.
We've only had 2 running backs. It's still Price and Love.
Trey Zune from Texas A&M. You said Kilgore just went. Yep. Grayson Halton's off the board, correct? LT Overton
yes,
went.
He did go.
Bud Clark went off the board, correct? I think he went earlier in that little run. Bryce Lance went. Antonio Williams is off the board.
Yep.
Have you got to watch any Josh Cameron out of Baylor? Because I didn't like Trey, but I like Josh Cameron decently.
I have taken a peek at him because I watched quite a bit of Baylor tape with all the Big 12 teams this year. Texas Tech, Arizona State.
Right.
Once you get past the fact that he's 6'1", 220 pounds, and wears number 34, he's an interesting player. You know who he kind of reminded me of? Jake Bobo from Seattle. He was just like a
dude
wide
out of UCLA. Yeah, I remember him
he's
coming
just
out of
kind
UCLA.
of he's not nearly as tall, but like his role, like he's going to block his ass off. He's going to make 2 or 3 important catches a season. You're just like, oh my God, I'm so glad that dude's on my team. Just kind of dirty work guy. So he's a day 3 guy for sure for me, but.
That's wild. I cannot believe some of these. Okay, I think I've maybe got this updated. I'm not for sure. It's close enough. So the highest guy on my board right now would be Davison Igbinosun from Ohio State. I don't think he's went yet, right? Of course, we're probably not looking to corner. Joshua Joseph's edge out of Tennessee. Hey, he's smaller.
He's so light, yeah.
Absolutely. Genesis Smith, did he go? Because he would be number 3 on my big board right now. Jonah Coleman's in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm down with anybody. Eli Raridan, you mentioned him earlier. He's number 12 on my big board right now, if that's the way it would go. And then Jay Sean Barnum's number 16 right now as it sits, unless I've missed anybody. So you're getting up there. We're getting right to it. But I'm with you. I think Chandler Rivers is a really good pick here that would round that out, especially since Kilgore's off the board. So look, if we do, let's say we don't take Chandler Rivers. Let's just say we don't take him here. Who would be the next one that you could possibly grab at the next position? Because for me, it may be good night. I don't even know who would be that.
At corner?
Yeah, like a corner that could do that slot. Like maybe like I don't even know.
Jaden Kennedy
Yeah,
from Oregon
the
is
kid
a
from
slot
Oregon.
only.
He would probably be the next guy up.
Yeah, another name that I'll throw, and like I do think he gets drafted. It's pretty early for Sierra, right? He's another slot best from
I like
Nebraska.
him. I like him.
He was actually one of the few guys to shut Mekhi Lemon down this season. Had a really good game against him. He's competitive, physical. Did really well at the Shrine Bowl, and then I thought he was going to get an invite to the Senior Bowl, but didn't. But this feels like a pretty good place for Elijah Surratt.
Right. Hey, Anthony Cleveland says, don't get Chandler Rivers, wait for Demings in round 5. But I think the thing here is Demings is going to play on the outside, and we're wanting Rivers to cover slot to get Jamari Conner out of that position.
Yeah, and there's just not a – Genesis Smith misses a lot of tackles.
He does. Genesis Smith misses a lot.
I just don't feel he is – I would rather wait for Jacoby Thomas from Miami.
Did you have Trey Dan Stukes rated higher than Genesis Smith? Because I've got there.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. Stukes. I definitely like Stukes. Hezekiah Masses from Cal. Oh, there's Jayshon Barham. Damn it.
I kind of like that pick. I like that idea here.
Well, he's going to that Michigan style defense, Minter and all that from that's Michigan South. Right. They're always going to do it.
The Tar 16 says, what range do you got linebacker Jack Kelly from BYU? I love Jack Kelly. I think he's probably a 5th, 6th round pick.
Yeah, I've not gotten to him.
He's fun. He's kind of like a Jayshon Barnum. It's that kind of guy. You could rush him off the edge.
Yeah.
He's a BYU guy. Andy likes him. I think actually, his size is pretty close to Leo Chanel. So could be something there, to be honest.
So let's maybe get a poll going here in the chat. We're a couple picks away. Who do we want to put? We want to put Chandler Rivers.
Start a poll. Let's see. Number 90. So who to pick at 98. And we'll do Chandler Rivers. I like that one to start with. We was going to do Barnum, but no more.
Maybe Jonah Coleman. He's still on the board.
Sure, we can do Jonah Coleman.
And then who is another name that we're talking about? Jonah Rivers, Jonah Coleman, Eli Raridan. He's getting some love in the chat, and we like Raridan.
Eli Raridan.
Anyone else we want to throw in there?
Let me see. Let me take a look at this board really quick and see. We've kind of have we taken a defense? Yeah, we did take a defensive tackle already.
Yeah, we took Lee Hunter.
Is it too early to look at linebacker? Because I've got Caleb Elam's Orr right in this region a little bit.
He's
like him.
He's an interesting guy. He's kind of
interesting.
He's a little bit Jake Galde just like the way he's used, the hybrid type of they flex him out to the slot some and stuff.
Dalen Everett's still on the board. Does he intrigue you a little bit? 6'1", 198.
I think that's fast. The same. I think the same thing as Igvinosen though, right? Like he's
pretty close. Yeah.
I would rather take a toolsy guy on day 3 if we're going to go with another outside guy. I think there's just not another safety that I love.
Mike Washington Jr. just went to Seattle, so no Mike Washington.
I say we run the poll with those 3 guys.
Okay, we'll run the poll with those 3. I'll put other as an option. If you want to vote other, click other and throw it in the chat. We'll watch the chat here. Are we sure? Are we sure that Jonah Coleman hasn't been taken? No, it was Jadarian Price. So it's Jadarian Price, then Mike Washington Jr. Okay. Somebody said Landon Robinson. Another person said Landon Robinson. Now we did take Lee Hunter at 40, and Lee Hunter is going to be kind of a pass rush juice right there. So
and we talked about
Robinson
a little bit
could be
too.
A little bit of a redundant pick.
And we talked about a little bit too that I think with the addition of Lee Hunter and Kairos Tonga, you're hopefully freeing up Omar Norman Lott to play closer to 295 instead of what he appeared to be 325 at camp. Get him back to being the pass rush guy that he was during his time at Tennessee. And, it's okay to spell Chris Jones too. Like, can you lie in Kairos Tonga and Omar Norman Lott up next to one another and Chris Jones, get to pop a squat for a minute and, use him in key moments of the game as a pass rusher. And I definitely think that helps. And, we still got TJ Parker too. And Parker has some inside outside flexibility. He's got plenty of size if he needed to kick inside on pass rush downs like they like to. And we even talked a little bit about double dipping at edge into day 3 with their bigger body like Anthony Lucas or a Max Llewellyn or someone like that.
Absolutely. Do you? We already took Jeremy Bernard. Somebody asked for an X wide receiver. Elijah Surratt is on the board. I think he could be.
No,
an X
he
at
just
6'2".
went. Yeah,
Oh, okay, he
just
did
went to
go.
the Dolphins.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he's off the board. Yeah, there's not much there. You're getting into like Dejon Stribling territory, Josh Cameron territory, Skylar Bell. He's not going to be an X by any means.
We're getting a little running back run. Nick Singleton just went, so we're now up. How's our poll looking?
Let's see. Poll is 26% Chandler Rivers, 21% Eli Raritan, 21% other. Jonah Coleman currently leads it by a slight margin at 30%.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of odd because I would have thought maybe this seems a little early to jump up for, but then again,
Give it a few more seconds here. Get your votes in if you're watching here.
yeah, get
Getting
those votes
close.
in. 330 people watching. Like, push these votes up.
Yeah, so remember, Chandler Rivers is going to be a undersized, feisty slot corner.
He's going to
was
be a
leader
slot
of the team. Had a bunch of passes defended. Let's see here. He had 29 career passes defended and 45 starts. Jonah Coleman is a guy who can do some third down stuff. Actually caught the ball quite a bit. A nice downhill guy, good size, good short yardage guy. He's not going to be overly explosive, but he's going to specialize. He's very Zach Charbonnet-esque, which if you're looking at what you're pairing with Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet wouldn't be a bad choice, right? And then who's the other guy we put up there? Chandler Rivers.
Eli Raritan,
6'6", 240. Notre Dame royalty as far as his bloodline goes. Tight end that was asked to do a lot as a blocker. A true wide tight end. Worked over the middle of the field pretty good. Really not a lot of end zone production for him. I can't remember. He didn't have a touchdown at all this season.
Yeah. We got we're getting more votes in. Let's keep them coming. Chandler Rivers is currently leading now, 41%. Jonah Coleman and Eli Raritan are tied at 22. So he's pretty much doubled. Mickey Moonrock says, is Devin Moore gone? Have you got to watch Devin Moore any? I feel like he's more.
Someone, Nick, who was in the chat a little bit ago, mentioned him to me. It might have to be someone. I got to tell you, I got to space out my corners and safety watching. It's just not as much fun as some of the line of
Devin
scrimmage
Moore's
guys.
6'3", 200. He's a huge guy.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to be a press outside kind of guy.
Yeah, which, I mean, would be a fit. It definitely feels like the Chiefs are going to take one of those guys probably on day 3.
Yeah.
It's just finding the right ones, whether it's Demings or Devin Moore or Igbinosin or whoever. So I think we're probably getting pretty close to being Chandler Rivers here.
He's kind of ran away with it. He's at 40%.
Yeah.
The closest one for Raritan.
And I think it makes a lot of sense when you factor in what you've added with McCoy, where you allow yourself to take a slot best guy who's going to, really disrupt the run game, the screen game, really be an enforcer in the shallows, plays feisty, plays competitive, gets his hands on the ball. He's just going to be a guy that Steve Spagnuolo is going to love. And, with McCoy, you provide yourself that flexibility where you've really redone the secondary. And there's still going to be some safeties on day 3 if we want to take a VJ Payne or a guy that I like, Jalen Husky, someone like that. Those guys are going to be available on day 3.
Calhoun says that even tight end, you can always look at Koziol or somebody like that
from
day 3.
From Houston or Dalen Bentley from Utah.
Really like
guy.
him.
Yeah. So there's some nice names here. So I say we go ahead and put in Chandler.
I don't mind Chandler Rivers. I think that definitely helps the defense a lot. And again, if you can't convert on 3rd and 4th down so quickly, or just get Jamari Conner back in a position where he plays better, Chandler Rivers helps. Yeah, to get off the field.
Something is aesthetically pleasing to me about like the guys that sneak in right into the top 100. Because I had a wager with a buddy on Twitter about Cam Scatterboo being a top 100 player, and he went like at 105 or something. I was like, oh, there's just something about being a top 100 player. So Chandler Rivers is a top 100 player now.
I like Chandler Rivers. He's one of my guys, to be honest.
So you want to recap?
You drafted both of my guys today. Like I'm a Jeremy Bernard guy. I'm a Chandler Rivers guy. Like,
that makes me feel better about the Lee Hunter pick.
Okay, yeah, no, I like Lee Hunter too for sure. He's a top 5 on my board. But I would say probably a month ago, probably right around the Senior Bowl, people were projecting Lee Hunter going the top 20. So
yes, yeah. I mean, he was getting that type of buzz.
yeah, so I mean that was a great pick at 40. So to recap everything for the day while everybody else is picking here. To recap day one, which was yesterday, at pick number 9, we took Jermod McCoy. Again, a lot of people say that's a reach and this and that. Believe us, we did not have Jermod McCoy like number 1 on our board. That wasn't the thing. But when you had David Bailey go at 2 and Ruben Bain going at 5, and then Cardinal Tate went at 6 and Caleb Downs went at 7, we just didn't have anywhere to go. We couldn't really trade it back. The only one that wanted to come up with was the Rams. That felt stupid considering they give us so much in the McDuffie thing. So we just went ahead and took Jermod McCoy. Now, you could argue Monster Delane was a better pick. Maybe so. We felt McCoy had the more NFL-primed body, and he's healthy. We think he's healthy enough to go. He was the best corner in football in 2024, hands down. I think if he'd have played this year, he'd have been a top 5 pick. So you got that going. We had to get the defensive end. We went with TJ Parker at 29. We thought about trading up a little bit, but there was a crazy run on tackles, and we kind of just sit still, and TJ Parker fell in our lap. And I think he fits the Spags mold pretty well. At pick 40 today, you heard Price talking about it. We actually took defensive tackle. Let me get up here and get it on the screen for you guys. We took defensive tackle Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech. Again, he was right around the Senior Bowl. He was unblockable to the point to where his agents told him to leave town. He didn't even play in the game, I don't think. He was that crazy, and he was being hyped that much. So I think he offers a lot of good things for us on the interior. He gives us a little bit of a pass rush, too. We really like that. And then at 74, we ended up taking Jeremy Bernard. Jeremy Bernard fell down the board. We all like Jeremy Bernard. He just heard us talking about him. And then we traded back into the 3rd round to number 98. I think, who did we trade with, Price? Was it the Eagles?
Yep, the Eagles. We kicked up to one of their compensatory thirds.
Right. So we at number 98, we traded up with the Eagles. We took Chandler Rivers, corner out of Duke. He can play outside. He is a piece, but I think he does offer a very strong shutdown, a nickel kind of guy that's going to be able to help us get off the field on 3rd down. And it's going to help our pass rush, to be honest. So, I mean,
the Steelers taking Taylon Green in the top 100.
That's wild. That's wild.
My brother, the tools are so exciting. Oh my God. Who did I watch last night? I can't even remember. I was watching Rayshawn Benny. He threw 2 of the most comical ass interceptions. Like when I tell you that these were, just comical interceptions, gross. Okay, I'm sorry. That was my guttural reaction there.
That's funny. So that ended round 3. Devin Moore here from Florida ends round 3 for Jacksonville.
Nice.
So officially, this thing's wrapped. Price, did you ever think this thing would have wrapped up in 2 hours?
Dude, I shout out I do want to give a shout out to the people that put this on. This is a project that a group that I've been a part of for the last 2 years called the Draft Professors put together. I recommend you follow them on YouTube. Just search Draft Professor. It's a growing community. Basically, what this community is guys who are draft content, local guys like us who are into the draft, coming together to cover the draft at a team level and even at a college level. Like every year I do a Nebraska podcast with them talking about draft prospects from Nebraska because I'm a Nebraska fan. So getting people at the local level, these fans, guys, you get tired of seeing people like, Screaming A. Smith do a mock draft or Colin Cowherd and stuff like that. The guys who just aren't locked in on the team. These are guys who can, recite the 53-man roster of their favorite team, who know it and follow it. And the Draft Professors, they're super dedicated to. Guess what? The day after the draft, they are going live with their 2027 big boards because there's already people on in 2027. So it's a great group of guys. They put this on every year. It's a fun project. If you just follow the hashtag EpicMock26 on Twitter, you're going to see everyone locking in their picks. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun. And it's just like it's the beginning of the season. It's a blast.
Yeah, it's fun. We had a good time. So, Price, you guys are doing, what is it? You guys doing the final 3 rounds tomorrow? Are you guys going to do it live or anything over on Airhead?
No, we won't. I do have a wife and children who would like to see me at some point. So we'll just collab on it in the group chat again, like we did the first round. The round 3 clicks along pretty quickly. Each pick is about 2 minutes long. And I think we're probably looking at grabbing maybe a running back and a tight end and a toolsy day 3 corner maybe, or a safety.
Okay, I like it. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you letting
This is
us
very
be
fun.
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for giving us a platform to do it. With over at Arrowhead Addict, our employees are like full time. Our staff that does our production stuff, so they aren't able to just hop on all the time because they got to kind of balance their work week. So
Right.
very convenient to have this, and this is a fun project. It's always been fun, and appreciate you guys and your guys' awesome base. You guys just rock it. Like your stuff just always does so well.
Appreciate it, man. There's some perks, I guess, to just being ourselves. You just got to just do what you want when you want, you know? So, hey, man, we appreciate you. You're free to go whenever you want. You can sit here and talk with me a little bit more. I'm going to wait around here and talk to the people a little bit.
I believe I need to go read an Avengers book to my son. So
go for it, man.
I'm going to go put him down. But thanks again for hanging. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you, brother. Okay, ladies and gents, I'm going to sit here and talk with you for just a little bit. People in the chat. Steve may jump on in a minute. I don't know. But, yeah, we can just talk a little bit about, some drafts, some of the other things if you guys wanted to talk about it, anything going on. Haven't got to look at a lot of Chiefs news. Has anything happened in the past 3 hours? I don't know. I'm going to go look at that. I'm going to stop sharing that. I don't really want to see that anymore. I'm kind of mocked out on that epic draft. But I will say, thanks a lot to Epic Draft for letting us come on and be part of this, and Price and Arrowhead Addict and everybody. So it is kind of cool. Let me take just a minute break here, grab something to drink. I'm going to be right back. I'll talk a little bit more with you guys, and we'll continue talking about the draft. Let's just give Prize Picks a shout out, and I'll be right back in about 1 minute. Watch this ad. I'll be right back. Chiefs Kingdom, we have officially partnered with Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy sports platform. It's distinctly separate from a traditional sports book, and it's the absolute best way to add some extra heat to every single game. The app is incredibly easy to use. You aren't playing against sharks. You're just picking more or less on an individual player projection. Think Kenneth Walker's total rushing yards per game, more or less. Travis Kelce's total touchdowns in 2026, only 4, more or less. You just pick at least 2 players, lock in your lineup, and you're in the action. Prize Picks is available in most states, including California, Texas, Florida, and right here in the heart of America, Missouri and Kansas. One thing we love is the new public feed. You can actually find and follow us directly on the app at All Chiefed Up. You'll be able to see our live lineups and tell our picks before we even post them here on the channel or our other social media platforms. So if you haven't joined yet, just download the app and use code HMA when you sign up. When you play your first $5 lineup, you're going to get $50 in lineups instantly. Click the link in the description, use code HMA, and remember to always play responsibly. Now back to the show. Appreciate Prize Picks. Go ahead and find that link in the description. Use code HMA. Get all that good stuff. You get $5 instantly once you give your first $50 in. We got Steve in the house. He's finally joined us.
Hello.
Steve, I hear a lot of fan noise in the background. I don't think your mic's coming through properly. I'm taking you off the screen. This guy is we're removing his mic noise. Okay, tired of it. Already tired of it. Dude, our draft today. Wait, I think you might be back.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Now you sound right. I think they maybe had the wrong audio clicked for you there. But dude, we finished up the mock today, so I'm gonna get you.
Damn, you guys are already done. Huh?
We're done. We finished about the time. Price just left as soon as you got here. Like, I literally took a break to go grab a drink, played the Prize Picks, and then here you came in. So, I mean, we'll talk to the people a little bit. And since you don't know what happened, I'll let you kind of give us a grade on what we did today. So this was our first round. Obviously, you remember this. We had to take McCoy at 9. We had to take TJ Parker at 29.
Didn't have
at
to.
40. At 40, we sit and we took Lee Hunter, defensive tackle. Price kind of wanted him. I think it was an okay pick at the time. Let me see who was on the board right around that time. Let's see. Here's who went right before we picked. Chase Basantis, guard. Avion Terrell, Denzel Boston. Ted Hurst went 35. That is wild. Caden McDonald, 36. Emmanuel Pregnon. Christian Miller, who we actually wanted.
Wait, did you just say that Ted Hurst went pick 35?
Yeah, to the Titans.
What kind of morons were drafting for these teams?
I don't know, but Borgonzi's getting fired if that happens. The Browns took McNeil Warren, and then we went ahead and took Lee Hunter. Now, I guess that we had three options there. You could have doubled down on edge, which I'd have been fine with. Gabe Akis, Zion Young, even Akeem Mesidor was on the board. You could have went a little off script and maybe grabbed Eli Stowers. And then we also talked about taking Jeremy Bernard there. Matt from Arrowhead Addict was fighting hard for Chris Bell at 40. We kind of overruled that one. What do you think at 40? Did you like the Lee Hunter pick? Would you have rather doubled up on edge?
I would have took Chris Bell over Lee Hunter.
That's a weird take, honestly.
No, I would have
surprised.
I don't know. Something about a run stuffing defensive tackle doesn't really excite me that much.
You think he's a run stuffer?
Yeah, I mean,
no, he's a pass rusher. He gets
somewhat.
after it.
He's not Caleb Banks to me.
Oh, Caleb Banks. Dude, Caleb Banks, I don't know why you're stuck on Caleb Banks. I think he's fallen so bad. He's fallen so bad, dude. He didn't even go in this draft almost the third round.
Well, that's because there were a bunch of dorks picking it. Took Ted Hurst at 35.
No, man, I don't know. Like, Banks is just too hit or miss. But anyway, board.
So here's my thing. If you're it went Jermod, McCoy, and who did you get with the second pick?
TJ Parker, you got an edge. Then you took the defensive tackle. So you're working on your defensive line, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, taking a cornerback at 9 throws a wrench in the gears, right? Kind of
It does. Everything. Nobody wanted the cornerback at 9, but the problem is, like, you had to pick, and
I can respect the Lee Hunter pick. So, but let's go ahead. What else we got?
Well, 74 came, and Jeremy Bernard was still on the board, so I fought for him. We got him. Jeremy Bernard at 74. Thought that was a good pick. Right before him was Zach Branch to the Bengals at 72, and Bryce Lance went at 73. And I honestly believe if Bryce Lance would have been on the board, the two Arrowhead Addict guys were going to overrule me. They wanted Bryce Lance over Jeremy Bernard. I don't see that being a thing in Kansas City.
No, that's crazy.
This is where our evaluations are so much different than a lot of other people out there. Like, they like players that I just sometimes cannot get behind. And that's what makes us different here at All Chiefed Up. And I'll tell you, I mean, we tend to hit. I'm just saying, we tend to hit. But yeah, that's what we got at 74. And then they wanted to trade back into the end of the third round. So they give up one of our fifth rounders. They come back into the third round, and we took Chandler Rivers at 98 to pair him with McCoy. So now the corner room is completely done. You got two guys on the defensive line, and you've got a receiver. So, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I don't think overall it's that bad. It's really hard to ignore taking Jermod McCoy at number 9. That's a very bad pick. Bad.
It is, but at the same time, you've seen the board. I don't know what you can do there.
Boy, there's a lot of players I took for Jermod McCoy.
Okay, but I'm just saying, corner-wise, I was not the biggest fan of McCoy, but I think he is a little stockier than Delane.
If we're talking corner, then sure, McCoy's fine, but I can't for the life of me figure out. And you kind of just, the way that you all drafted this kind of just shows why taking Jermod McCoy at number 9 is crazy. Because you were able to get Chandler Rivers at what? Pick what?
Right, but McCoy's an outside guy, and Rivers is going to play the slot.
But there are other cornerbacks.
But you could have at 29, you could have absolutely sit there, and we could have got him at 40. You could have got Chris Johnson.
Exactly. That's my point. I don't know.
I don't like corner at 9. I just don't like it. But again, that's who they wanted. And I was outruled 2-1. If it were me and everybody, I'm telling you, even right now, if that was our board, I would have been happy taking Kenyon Sadiq going to the house. I don't give a shit what anybody says. If that was my board, I'll bring it up. If this is the way this board rolls, I'm telling you right now, Kenyon Sadiq at 9 would not have been a bad pick.
No.
He went at 12 anyway. He went at 12. So who, like, maybe Mekhi Lemon, but at the same time, we just got Jeremy Bernard at 74. Like, you're not taking Peter Woods at number 9. You're not jumping on Cassius Howe. That's crazy. Like, Maui Noah, maybe? Could you have taken the tackle top, maybe?
Go back to it. Let me see what else happened here. So Peter Woods at 22. I feel like that's realistic.
Yeah, that's about right.
He could go in the 20s.
Jacob Rodriguez going at 19 was wild to me. But I do think he could fall in the first round, but I was thinking maybe 30, 31, 32.
Let's see. Cassius Howe that high is a little wild to me.
Yeah, it's too high.
I feel like Monroe Freeling could go higher.
Oh, absolutely. He could.
Let's see. Caden Proctor could go way higher than 25. Max Onature at 28 is a little rich.
Look, you're looking at a board. You're looking at a board.
That's so weird, dude.
The way this fell, this board, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you are stupid if Brett Veach don't take a little draft capital and go up and get a defensive end. Go get him.
Yeah, dude. It just
get him.
That's what I said yesterday.
That's what you're going to have to do. That board proves it. It's either set at 9 and take a guy that you really don't want, or go get the guy you want.
Yeah, dude, I would much rather trade draft capital, go up and get Ruben Bain or David Bailey than have to sit there and end up taking Jermod McCoy, dude. That pissed me off so bad. I just don't see how that moves the needle whatsoever. When you realize what the cornerback room looks like right now, or just say DBs in general, and they already went out and signed 2 different guys to add to it. Well, 3 count Aloy Gilman. And I don't see the point of drafting a corner.
Steve says I got bullied in this draft.
You got bullied by. No, he's saying that you got bullied by the other 2. They made you pick who you didn't want.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, not today. I got 2 my guys. I ended the day with Bernard and Rivers, who I absolutely love right there.
Those are probably your best picks of the entire draft.
Yeah, because I took them. Look, I don't mind Lee Hunter. I do think he's a little weak in the pants. Like, he's 330, and I think he carries it all above the waist. It's not something I love. A
little top heavy.
Yeah, he's not something I love. T.J. Parker's fine. He actually could go before 29. For me, at number 9, I would not have took McCoy. But there was no way for us to trade, because before we even started, the Cardinals traded out to 5, and at number 2, Bailey comes off the board, and then the Cardinals at 5 take Bain out of nowhere, because we were actually talking about trading up with Cleveland, and then Bain took 5. So, I mean, what were you going to do? There's really nothing you do, which is another thing, too. Like, if you want Bain, you may have to get your ass up the board to number 3 if you want him.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like,
I don't know, man.
Those aren't. So, look, I'll be the first to say these mock drafts aren't super realistic. This shows you, look, every one of these GMs have YouTube channels. They write for big publications, Arrowhead Addict. They write for all these big ones across the board. Every team, major. This is where all fans get their information from, are these kinds of guys that are drafting this. And now you kind of wonder why me and Steve are like, why do people weight these fan sites and these like corporate sites so much over, like, say, us who are just independent guys? Because if you look at it, look at the shit they're doing, and they feel good about it. And then look at what we're trying to be the voice of reason over here. We're supposed to be like the little man on the totem pole. It doesn't make any sense. I just don't feel like that's a thing. So,
man, can we go back to the Lee Hunter and Caleb Banks thing? Just between me and you, not between. I don't care what everybody's saying about it, but just like me and you talking about it, straight up. Like, how in the hell could you consider Lee Hunter over Caleb Banks? And like, I'm being honest here. I'm not like being condescending or anything. Like, what would make you want Lee Hunter over Caleb Banks? Besides, if you could come at me with like the foot injury or something like that and whatever, but
because Caleb Banks, if you go watch his film, he puts together highlight reel plays. So you could go back and pick out 20 really awesome plays and that make you be like, this guy's insane. But if you watch a full game, there is not a full game where he just actually like dominates a full game. Like, he's never did it. He's also 23, so he's a little on the upper end too. He's battled injuries his entire career. He's played at 2 or 3 different colleges, which means he doesn't commit to anything. He's just going wherever the wind blows. He's just, I don't even know how to, like, I just don't think he's very consistent. I think that's the big thing. Like, he's not consistent. He's a guy that's a big-time boomer bust guy. And I think if you take him wanting boom, it's very well, like, you're at a big time getting a bust as well. So he's a guy that can get you fired.
Are you just trying to say Lee Hunter's more reliable?
No, because Lee Hunter is kind of the same way. He only performed really well halfway through the season.
Well, that's my whole thing. That's why I was kind of wanting to have that.
And Lee
conversation
Hunter's
with you,
actually
because
older.
I can't, for the life of me, get to wanting to pick Lee Hunter over Caleb Banks. And like you look at the guys, I think Lee Hunter's like 6'3",
He's 6'3", 320. Banks is 6'6", 335.
So it's just bigger, longer limbs, more athletic, faster first step.
Banks is again. I think they're both. Like I'm right there with you. I think they're both boomer bust. Like I really do. I just think that Lee Hunter in this draft process has been a little more consistently, and I'm not for sure that Caleb Banks' foot injury is that good. Like I don't know. I don't understand the foot injury. Like I haven't seen nothing about it.
And when you just kind of look at the profiles of them, to me, it's like Caleb Banks, athletic, long-limbed, huge, exceptional size, I guess, quick, fast, pass rush ability. But when I watched Lee Hunter, you said he was a get after the passer, but I didn't really get that from him. He seemed like a nose tackle, space eater type guy to me. Stopped the run, anchored,
like I said,
anchored against double teams.
He showed it more
like
in the Senior Bowl. That's where he really shined. Like once he showed it to the Senior Bowl, he was dominant at the Senior Bowl. Now the thing is, can you keep him that focused? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't.
I mean, I could be
to be honest,
wrong.
I don't love either pick.
No, and I think Peter Woods is probably higher than.
To me, Peter Woods and Christian Miller are the only two, and I think Woods. Honestly, I trust Woods over Miller. I've got Miller ranked higher, but honestly, at the end of the day, I'm probably going to put Woods over him. I think I trust him more.
Yeah, Peter Woods would be the number one defensive tackle, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's not as big as Christian Miller. Christian Miller's 6'4", 321. He's a monster. But he doesn't have it on film. Like, I don't think he's as consistent. But Peter Woods had a bad year in 2025. So it's just not a good tackle class, a defensive tackle class, in my opinion. But you might hit more on Chris McClellan or Grayson Halton out of Oklahoma. Hell, you could get more out of Landon Robinson.
Do you think any of those guys that you just mentioned, Counting Woods and Miller, have the upside of Caleb Banks, though? I feel like he's got the highest ceiling. But he could be a bust, too. But I do feel like he's got a higher ceiling than all of those guys.
I just don't think he's trustworthy because he's got... I don't want to say the wrong thing. He's got an attitude about him that's not good. Put it that way. He makes wide receivers look less diva-ish sometimes. From the vibe I feel like he puts down.
Really?
That's what, like, from everything I'm hearing about Caleb Banks, that's his thing. Is that people don't like his attitude. They don't think he gives a full effort all the time. And he's got a lot of injuries, and he's just a big-time boomer bust. He's a guy that people are going to pound the table for at the end of the first round. I personally think he's going to fall out of the first round. But if somebody pounds the table for him at the end of the first round and he don't pan out, he's the kind of guy that's going to get you fired. Like, that's just how I see it. And I could be wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of things, but...
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't see it quite that way, but, I mean, you could be right.
Thoughts on Dominique Orange?
I like Dominique Orange. I hate the name Dominique for dudes. I feel like that's a girl name. I feel like
he's a one tech.
I feel like it should be Dominic Orange, but no. Yeah, I mean, big.
Yeah,
strong.
he's like a nose tackle kind of guy for sure.
I do like him. I like him a lot, actually. Depends on where you're talking about getting him at, but I think for like where people are projecting him, probably like end of the third, early fourth.
Yeah, he's not going to give you much pass rush at all. I think he had one sack in his entire career, so he's basically just a run stuffer.
But I feel like for where they have him projected, I feel like he's pretty good value, though. I do like him.
The big citrus.
Big citrus.
Look, I'm honestly like about drafted out after.
You just had to sit and talk about all
after that, dude.
These...
Well, it's not that, but it's like Price was on for a little bit, but we had a third. We had another guy from Arrowhead Addict here too early. His name was Matt, and I can't pronounce his last name. I'm not even going to try to butcher it. So, yeah, it's just been a lot. Like, there's been a lot of like talking, information, like talking over each other. Like, it's hard to get a word in. And plus, you had two Arrowhead Addict guys versus one all chiefed up guy. Steve left me hanging today.
Left you hanging.
You left me hanging, bro. But I tell you, I fought for Jeremy Bernard pretty well. Fought for Chandler Rivers pretty well. I'm not that guy that's going to sit there and like. We got invited to come on here. Like, they were the ones that they wanted them to do it. Those guys can have their first round. That's kind of how I seen it. I let them kind of vibe in the first.
Yeah.
But today, man, I'm going to pick my picks. If you tell me, like, I don't agree with Chris Bell at 40. I think the injury's too crazy.
Is there a rest of this draft, or is that it?
Yeah, they're doing a full, like, the next of it tomorrow night. We're not going to put it live or anything, so it'll just be kind of, once it's done, it'll just go out. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, I appreciate everybody like being here and watching. We held over 300 the whole time. We're getting close to 400 right now. We've been on for almost 3 hours. I think the full time we've had over close to 2,000 views. I don't think any of the 32 teams that has live streamed this has got anywhere close to the amount of views we've pulled. So All Chiefed Up has pulled higher views and higher retention rates than anybody doing this mock draft thing. So shout out to you guys.
It's because I wasn't here. Everybody's like, sweet. Steve's
hey, shout out to the ACU crew, man. Even Price said that. He said you guys showed up today, and you did. 100%.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. How you guys doing? How we doing in the chat anyway? Almost 400 of you here. You know what to do. Hit that like button. All that
Yeah, hit that
stuff.
like button for sure.
Yeah, Mike, sorry I had to leave you hanging, but...
We ain't even had 100 likes today. The likes have been people thinking around.
That's
They're
because,
not thinking.
Well, I can tell you exactly why. I would almost bet you right now YouTube is absolutely getting swamped by Facebook and X.
It's possible. Something's going on with YouTube right now, ladies and gents, and it's
either
wild.
that or YouTube Chiefs fans just completely checked out. One of the two.
No, YouTube's having some like errors on the back end where they're like completely glitching out. Like they're not putting things in people's watch feeds. It's bad.
Yeah,
it's
Justin,
like a worldwide known issue right now.
Justin on X just got here. Who were the picks? I think. Oh, do I have? It's funny. I feel embarrassed to say the first pick because I wasn't part of this. They took Jermod McCoy at number 9, and then at 29 they took T.J. Parker, and then 40 Lee Hunter.
Jeremy Bernard
at what, 74?
74, and then they traded back into the end to number 98. They traded back in, and we grabbed Chandler Rivers.
Yep.
Dude, okay, look, so here's my thing. People say corner at 9 sucks, but you can kind of look at the quality of this draft. It's not a bad draft. So if you do take a corner at 9, it doesn't kill the draft. It absolutely does not kill it.
I feel like it does kind of like...
It's not as sexy as it could be, but I'm telling you, if you're not going up to get Bain, you're not going to have a sexy draft. Because if you take Mekhi Lemon there, does it really get that much better? You're still taking probably the same players the rest of the way. You're just trading out Mekhi Lemon for McCoy.
What is it about? It just absolutely grinds my gears to take a cornerback at number 9. It irks me.
Because you're kind of in the mentality of all Chiefs fans that we're just so good at developing corners late, and we debunked that yesterday.
It's not even that. We didn't really debunk it either. I'd almost bet if you put that percentage up against other...
No, look, I 100% agree.
Higher, right?
I 100% agree. I'm not saying to fire Veach. I'm not saying that people are wrong. But the point is, you've had 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10, that's a 30% hit rate. You can't pass up really good talent at the front. That's like last year or the year we grabbed McDuffie. Well, don't take McDuffie at 21. We developed Josh Williams in the 4th round. No, we didn't.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. We got lucky with Jalen Watson. We didn't hit Nick Jones the next year.
I think what irks me
you can't pass up good talent.
What irks me about cornerback at 9 is because of the positional value. I don't think that the corners... I think the corners that are available at 29 are just as good as the corners that are available at number 9.
I'm not going to argue that. I absolutely think
that's
at
what
29.
bothers me. And then I feel like, and then when you look at like edge rusher, that's not necessarily the case.
But with the board that fell, who are you going to take? Was you going to take Mekhi Lemon at 9? I still feel like that's kind of a reach right now. People are projecting him now to be 15 through 20.
I would have took Sadiq.
Yeah, those two guys would have never went for that. I don't think there's another channel on YouTube. I don't think there's another Chiefs anything. I don't care if it's a YouTube channel. I don't care if it's a publication. I don't care who it is. I don't think there's another Chief thing in the world that is as big as Sadiq as we are. And there's no way they would have lost their minds.
What up,
just
Peter?
by suggesting it,
doing,
they'd have probably blocked you.
Mike's been going for almost 3 hours here. I just got here a little while ago, Peter, but good to see you, buddy. Brian says hit that like button. Man, yeah, I know that I know that a lot of them are not big on Kenyon Sadiq that high, but here's the thing: if you do,
There's a lot more of the fan base that likes Kenyon Sadiq more than the loud ones that
if
people
you took
follow.
Kenyon Sadiq at pick 15, 16, let's just say 15 to 20, everybody be fine with that.
Yeah.
Nobody
Because
mad
people's
at
under
that.
the impression that nine's too early. Nine's too early. But look, in this mock draft, Dallas took him at 12. Did anybody even think Dallas was even looking at Kenyon Sadiq? Because I didn't. But there has to be something there, or this guy just didn't up and take Kenyon Sadiq rogue. So there has to be something in the Dallas Cowboys circles, be it their sports writers or something, has to be on this a little bit. So that's always been what me and you have said. If you like Sadiq, and he's one of your guys on your board, you may have to take him at 9. You can't trade back because, well, 9's too high, 15's the spot. Well, trade back to 15 and watch Dallas take him at 12, and then you really screwed up.
Well, okay, so Jadwin, I don't know how to say this right, but whatever. He says, I like Sadiq, but hate thinking about using
This is a lot of people's mentality.
And here's my rebuttal to that. Like, here's something that kind of I can't get with that, because it's like, I'm sitting here talking about how I don't want to take a corner at 9. Like, corner is what I don't want to take at 9. And the reason being, you can go all the way down to pick 140, and you're looking at Chandler Rivers, you're looking at Charles Demings. You got guys on the board still at 140 that are going to be good corners in the league.
I don't think Chandler Rivers is going to be there at 140. I don't think Demings going to be there at 140 either. We'll say
I'll stop talking then.
We'll say pick 100. Well, I think you shot it too hard there. You could get them top 100. I think 140.
I bet if you go look at most big
round.
boards, I bet if you go look at most big boards that they're probably sitting around 130 to 150 in that range. I would almost bet it.
A slap nut or two, which there's
I
probably
would
a lot of
almost
those.
bet it. But either way, my point is like the depth there. Then when we start talking about tight end, you got Kenyon Sadiq, you got Eli Stowers, and after that, there's a drop off the size of a mountain. Okay, like it's not even close after that. And then on top of that, like our tight end has been our number 1 receiver for 7 out of the last 10 years. So it's like we don't like. I don't know.
We
To me,
use
it's
tight
like,
ends.
Give me a good tight end.
So to me, it's a weapon. I don't care if he plays a tight end. Like Kenyon Sadiq is a weapon. Just because he has a TE next to his name does not mean that he can't play wide receiver. I mean, people are talking about Stowers being a wide receiver. He runs a 4.3. Like Kenyon Sadiq is a monster. I think people are getting in the weeds too much. I think that we're 2 weeks away, and everybody's just decided like, let's just get in the weeds here.
Maybe. I mean, I get where it's coming from, but that's what I would say in response to that. Peter Ortiz with a 25. Let's freaking go, Peter. So I'm thinking you guys will suffer PTSD after the draft. I heard that Crown can help with that. We'll see. This is a weird draft. It's going to be really hard to predict. I'd say probably the last couple, we've probably hit 2-3 of the players in each draft. You know? So, and that's tough. That's pretty tough to do. This year, I don't know about it. It's tough. It's really hard. And there's just so many different ways it can go. Like the draft y'all did, Mike. You said it's weird how it fell to 9. Honestly, right there, if I don't take Kenyon Sadiq, if I feel like that's too rich to take tight end, which I don't personally, but whatever, I would trade back. And then I would use all that I got from trading back to start trading up at every
Nobody
other
wanted to
draft
trade us, though. So what if that happens on draft night? What do? You got to pick.
Sadiq. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's what me and you would want, but I guarantee
you
I
can
don't
reach
know.
if they reached on Mekhi Lemon or Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson, I wouldn't be too mad if that's how the board fell. But I think I'd be more irritated the fact that they didn't try to go up and get David Bailey or Ruben Bain.
Well, let's say you're Brett Veach. You just be Brett Veach right now. The draft starts in 5 minutes. Where do you feel comfortable going up to hit one of those? You're going to have to go all the way up to 2 or 3 because Mendoza's going. So you statistically can think the Jets at 2 are going to take one of them. You're going to have to go all the way to number 3. Half of the fan base, if not more, is going to want to fire you for trying to get up to number 3 and to take either a guy that don't fit our system because Spags won't play him or a guy with short arms.
Well, here's the thing. If you
So-
trade up, look, I think you force Spags to play David Bailey. If you go up and get him in the draft in the first round, you trade up to get him, and Spags doesn't put him on the football field, I think that's where Spags is going to start feeling the heat. Because he's already had poor personnel decisions with
Yeah.
Jamari Connor all season long last year. He cost us, that alone cost us some games. And don't get me wrong, the 99% of the problem last year was our offense sucked butt. But I still think there were a lot of games we could have won if they just made the right personnel decisions on defense. And like, if you go up to get him and you get David Bailey, like you almost twist his arm. Like, dude, you're playing this guy. I just invested a lot. Like, he's going on the football field. Figure it out. So, I mean, I don't know.
So you think corners completely just dumb?
Yes.
Like, think about who our corners are right now. You trust those guys? If the season kicks off today, you trust Cater Kohu, Christian Fulton, and Noah Williams?
Well, I'll tell you
That
this.
you trust them?
I don't trust Christian Fulton because he is hurt constantly.
Okay, so Kyrie Elam, you trust him too?
No. But I do trust Noah Williams for some reason. I know he didn't get as much playing time as I wanted to his rookie season, but I think he's going to be fine. Do I trust Cater Kohu to play the nickel more than Jamari Connor? Okay.
Fine. I'm just
So-
saying, like, I don't see how anybody can look at our defensive back room that would be that trustworthy here. Like, it's got to have there's room to get a lot better.
There's no Sauce Gardner in this draft. There's no Christian Gonzalez. There's no Trent McDuffie. There is no Derek Stingley. They're just, those guys are not that, like, to me, Monsoor Delane.
You don't think with Jermod
McCoy,
McCoy, though, if Jermod McCoy would not have got the ACL, he would have played in 2025, he'd have been a top 3 pick in this draft. Probably top 5. Like,
depending on how he played, if
at
he
worst.
wasn't hurt. Yeah,
but I
that's a
think he's
big
that
if.
good. Like, if you just look at his 2024 film, he was a top 5 player in this draft. That's why I don't hate it that bad. I honestly think he gets less bullied than Delane does.
Yeah, I
Delane's
know.
shorter and thinner.
I think I'm with you on that one. I think I do like Jermod McCoy better than Delane. I do.
But again, I don't love corner, but at the same time, I don't know if it's that bad. Because just because we have a 30% hit rate, like if you're telling me Jermod McCoy is by far the best corner of this draft, hands down, you can get him and just be done with it. You're going to have him and Noah Williams on the outside. You're good. For 5 years of cheap corner
I'm trying
play.
to think of
You're
I'm trying to
fighting
think of a
that?
scenario where
Because that's just McDuffie all over again, basically.
I'm trying to think of a scenario where I'm okay with taking the corner at 9. Appreciate you, Peter. Thanks for the 25, man. You're awesome, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother.
Let me think. If they took Jermod McCoy at 9 or Delane, whoever, they have to get. What would they have
It's
to
an
get at
edge.
29 and 40?
That's what I'm saying. TJ Parker, a lot of people love TJ Parker. He's probably going to go in the top 20.
I don't love TJ Parker. I'll just put that out there. I think that's maybe.
You don't think he's a Spags guy, though? Like he's built
Care
like
if he's
him?
a Spags guy.
Well, I'm just saying. Like it's either him or Keldrick Falk. Which one are you going to take out of those two?
I feel like TJ Parker is good, but I also feel like TJ Parker could be more of the same that we've been getting. To where it
Yeah,
doesn't
but
do
that's
anything.
just called Spags is here, and that's what you're going to get.
Well, that's cool, but Ruben Bain is Spags guy and is going to give you a lot more than what we've been getting.
right.
Like, it's
but
like
do
a- you know what I'm saying?
I
Like-
honestly don't know if Ruben Bain's a 10 sack a year guy though. I couldn't commit to that.
If
I
George
can't say
Karlaftis
for
can do it,
sure.
I think Ruben Bain can do
But
it.
Karlaftis hasn't done it consistently.
No, but he has consistently been at like 8+. So, I mean, I don't know. Zion Young, I like him a lot too. I don't think you're going to get 10 sacks a year out of him.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't.
Gabe Akis, same.
I don't think. Yeah, I can't really commit to that.
I don't know.
This is why-
That's the weird part.
Steve,
you get
this is
outside that-
why
you get outside those couple.
Us
top
and a lot
couple
of
edge
people
rushers.
have been saying this is just not a deep draft. Like the players at the top are just not as strong as usual.
I would take Zion Young over TJ Parker. I think. I'm not 100% on that, but I think I might lean more towards Zion Young. Let me think. There's got to be somebody else that hangs around there, right? Who else is?
Mesidor.
I think
25.
Mesidor is a better pass rusher than both of them, probably.
I've got Parker at 4. I've got Falk at 5. Zion Young at 6. Mesidor at 7.
Dude, I love Cassius Howell, by the way, but if they're not going to let David Paley play, Cassius Howell would never see the field.
No, he's only 253.
He would
Same with
never see
R.
it.
Mason Thomas. R. Mason Thomas is
I like him
11
too.
pounds,
Yeah.
9 or 10 pounds, like lighter than Cassius.
My boy Peter with 5 gifted memberships. Let's go. If you guys got one of those, make sure to thank him in the chat. Peter's a freaking legend. You know what, Mike? I'm going to give away 5 too. Peter did it. I'll do it. Well, maybe I won't, actually. But give me a minute and I'll do it. I got this. You pretty wiped out?
I'm tired. It's pretty just a lot of talking.
Yeah, I can imagine like sitting on there doing that entire draft and stuff.
Yeah, Sammy with a 2 says would have drafted Josephs over Rivers at 98.
I like Josephs.
Yeah,
Wait,
I don't
are you
mind
talking
it,
about
but-
the? Yeah, from Tennessee
Yeah,
over Rivers in that draft, and that I don't know if I go that. Let's see. It depends on.
I just look at my big board a lot. That's
Do you
what
think-
I want to do.
So when I look at the draft that you just did, I don't know if TJ Parker gives me enough to where that I'm okay with that because y'all took an edge rusher, right? Just one.
Yeah.
If TJ Parker was the only edge rusher I got, I'd probably be upset.
Well, that's what I'd said. Like at 40, they took Caleb or what's his name? They took Lee Hunter, and Zion Young and Gabe Backus were both on the boards. I mean, you could have doubled right there, or like Sammy said, you did have Josephs at 98, but again, Josephs is just a guy that I don't know if Spags would play. Now,
He's undersized too.
Jay Sean Barnum we were looking at, who was an outside linebacker that they are trying to stand up and rush the passer more, but he got picked right before we went. Like, we were considering him. I don't know. I think when you do a mock draft, so if you think about it, the way we did this draft with just 3 different people, 3 different big boards, just 3 different philosophies. This is why teams don't have so many chefs in the kitchen. It's tough. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you can come to a consensus pick, but everybody's got a little bit of a different feel, a different vibe. Now, I'm not saying that don't happen. I'm sure corners fight for, DB guys fight for their corners they want, and Joe Cullen's fighting for whoever, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not saying that's not a thing, but I think a lot of the times they put their big board together and they'll stick to the big board because, it just keeps you taking the best player every time.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's tough when everybody's wanting something different, and I think that's what you see.
It's weird when you start talking to other people about draft stuff and you get kind of outside your own little box because it's just like they're so different about a lot of things, and it's weird. And you have to respect it because, I mean,
both of them. And look, I don't know how you are. Both of them loved, like they were fighting for pick 74. They were both loving Jalen Kilgore as a slot guy.
That's wild.
Dude, that was what I was thinking. I was like, dude, I like Chandler Rivers all day over Kilgore there.
Yeah. Keontae Scott.
Well, Scott went right before we did.
I don't
But
like
he was
Kilgore
one
as
to
much
talk
as
about.
I've noticed that there are quite a few draft guys that love Kilgore.
There's a lot
But
of a lot
to
of
me,
Chiefs
he's
Kingdom really
that free
like certain
safety
players
that's
like
going to play a
Kilgore.
nickel, right? He's the same as Trayvon Stoops.
Yeah, he misses tons of tackles too. He's going to make
Yeah.
L'Jarius Sneed look like he was the greatest tackler of all time.
Our boy Iron Price for 5 gifted memberships. Let's freaking
Appreciate
go.
you, brother.
And then we matched it. We matched Peter and Iron Price. We got 5 more
Let's
out there
go.
into the ether. So if you guys got one of those memberships, welcome to the crew. What do we got going here? Let's see. We got Chiefs Nation, Broken but Blessed, Speed, Cameron Brown, and Optimistic James. We got Miss Smoothie, Yoshibi,
Optimistic James.
Deshaun Parker, Samuel W, Steve Z, and then we got Janae, Flow Farm. Let's see, who else got one? Kadarius Tony got a membership. Let's go. What's up?
Let's go,
Kadarius Tony?
KT.
Mr. Paris, Justin Mateo, welcome to the crew. Let's freaking go. Let's go. Yeah, man. As far as the draft goes, I know everybody's probably tired. I know you're tired, Mike, after all that. But we will be doing our mock draft 2.0 Sunday night. So, like, we're going to give our predictions again, kind of what we tweak from the first one that we did. If you guys missed that, we did that a couple weeks back. But usually every year we try to guess what the Chiefs are going to do, is what we try to do. That's kind of the way we go about it. It's not necessarily the players that we want or we want to take. It's the players that we think the Chiefs are going to take. So we'll kind of twist that a little bit, update that, and we'll put out the latest version of that on Sunday night. And then we only do 3 a year, so right before the draft, we'll go ahead and release the final one. And yeah, man, it should be fun. I got some corrections to make on mine from last time, so I think it'll be fun. But Mike,
yeah, Peter, straight on. I do. Dude, I'm tired. Dude, I sat in a car all day too. I drove. We got up early this morning, and me and the lady we drove over to Indiana. We went to Kat Von D's tulip farm.
You went to the tulip farm today?
Because tomorrow they're dying. She said it today. She was like, they are not going to be here on Saturday and definitely not Sunday. And so we went to the tulip farm, the black tulip, 15,000 black tulips. It was incredible. It was fun. But we did get to meet Kat. She didn't come down. But I like her mansion she bought. It's like
she was creeping at you from out the window.
Creepy little town. It was a town called Vevey. Vevey, Indiana. And she opened up her store. Well, it's not open yet, but she did her store. I got to see her store, and it looks pretty cool. She painted it white and gold. It looks pretty sick. Nice little town. We met the mayor. How do I meet the mayor?
Because there's only 150 people in the town, so one of them has to be the mayor.
It was also voted USA Today's top 10 towns in America. I didn't know that.
Weird. Mickey Moonrock says Bernard was the best pick of the entire draft, Mike, so far. So, good job. Good job getting them to do that.
Yeah, I think so too. And dude, I didn't think they were going to go for it. Like, I thought they were trying to fight it at every turn. And I'm thinking, why are we fighting Jeremy Bernard at 74? Like, we should have took him at 40.
Yeah.
The way the board was set up.
Anthony Cleveland says they say we can get pick 4 for pick 40 and even get back another round 4 pick. So 9 and 40 for pick 4? That seems rich. So, I mean, I guess you would have to get something back.
Well, yeah, he just said get back another round 4. We added it up in the video. I don't think we went all the way down to 4, though. Did we start at 4? No, yeah, we started at 4. Tennessee. We started at Arizona at 3.
Well, realistically, what you need to hope for on draft night, obviously Mendoza going 1. I think you really need to hope for Sonny Styles or Arvell Reese or somebody like that to come up real early, too. You need somebody to want to grab one of those guys early.
You need Cleveland to also at 6. If you can't get up with Cleveland yourself, you need Cleveland to sit. Cleveland cannot take other teams and let them jump us. You can't do it. Yeah. And I worry a lot about the Saints at 8. I feel like they're going to be a problem if they try to get up higher than us because they're wanting a pass rusher.
Yeah. Peter says he appreciates the hard work. Mike's putting in all the hard work today, so appreciate you, Mike. Let's freaking go, Peter. Sammy with 2 says Joseph's played reps at linebacker as well. So, yeah, he's definitely like a 3-4 outside linebacker type, right? He's pretty small. So that's for sure. I think that those kind of guys are intriguing, but like I feel like if you don't get a really top end one, I don't think we'll look at one. Like, because, I mean, we did this with B.J. Thompson, and I understand he had all of the medical issues. But, I mean, I don't think he was going to get on the field anyway, to be honest. I don't think they were going to be able to rotate him in. So, they just don't do it. I feel like you need a really elite guy for the Chiefs to use a guy like that. That's why I think David Bailey could kind of break that. If they invest in David Bailey, I feel like Spags has to play him. For better or for worse.
I'm not opposed. Like, at first in the draft process, I was decently opposed to David Bailey. But the more I watch him, I think he's built decently well, too. I think he's strong enough to hold up at the point of attack. Now, look, if he goes up against, like, Trent Williams in his prime, he's probably getting hammered. But, I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah. That's
like,
true.
I'm not asking you to win every rep. I'm just asking you to give me some pressure, man.
Yeah, well, anyway, what I was saying, I think best case scenario for the Chiefs on draft night would be you're wanting Arvell Reese or Sonny Styles to come off the board earlier than you think. You're wanting a wide receiver to come off earlier than you think. Like maybe one of these teams falls in love with Carnell Tate or somebody. That's what you need to hope for. You also need to hope for offensive tackle to have as much value as it normally does in a draft. Maybe now Noah Fano could go in the top 10 earlier than you think, and that's going to help too. I think that's what you're going to go. And of course, Jeremiah Love, somebody's going to take him in the top before 9. So I mean, there's a pick there.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can get some of those things to happen, then that does kind of make it to where, hey, we're either we can sit here and maybe grab Ruben Bain or David Bailey, or we don't have to go all the way up to the top, 3 to get them. So I don't know, man. I think it's what we need to be hoping for. And it's very possible there could be a team out there that just, I mean, every year people reach on a receiver, almost every year.
Well, how about this? Todd McShay just come out this morning and said that from everything he's hearing, that if we take a tackle at number 9, it's not going to be Maui Noah. It's 100% going to be Fano.
What's up with the Fano crap?
Because his dad, he played under Kyle Whittingham, and Alex Whittingham was on the Chiefs coaching staff all the way up until last year. So they're saying there's just connections there. But here's my thing.
Going to be a guard. Why are we drafting a guard?
Yeah, Fano is 100%. Like, if you close your eyes and have somebody read off. Let me just do this. Let me go to my scouting on Fano. I want everybody to just close your eyes and relax for a moment. Just close your eyes and just relax, sink into your chair, and listen to my cons on him and tell me if you don't think.
While you're digging that up, dude, Mickey kind of hits the nail on the head for me here. This year is as close as you're ever going to get in the top 2 pass rusher before Patrick retires.
Yeah.
Like, you got to do it. This has been your big problem for you.
If this doesn't tell you cons, if this doesn't tell you, you're listening to Kingsley Suamataia all over again. His cons: lacks ideal mass. It should add more mass. He occasionally oversets, inviting defenders to beat him across his face. Who does that sound like? When pulling or climbing to the second level, he is fast, but he will miss his target sometimes because of how fast he gets there. He plays with wide hands, which means he whiffs or gets called with holding penalties a lot. What's his weight? 3'11". 3'11" with a 4.9 40. Who does that sound like? A very athletic, freak list kind of player, right?
Is that same Breaking Bad fly that was bugging you the other day?
Yeah, this little. Oh my
You're
God.
never going to be able to catch him.
Dude, I want to burn the house down to get rid of this guy.
He's on your head right
there.
now.
He has bothered me for 2 hours, dude. And
bro,
I'm about ready to just start shooting.
Do you remember we were talking about it the other day?
Him.
All the way back when Charles Goldman was on with us. That fly's been attacking.
It won't die. He just knows I'm the shit, bro. And that's what he likes.
Yeah, no, I think that Fano's going to be a guard for real. I don't love offensive tackle at 9, but I would probably.
Do you remember the mock draft we did where we took Maui Noah at 9 and it was the best mock draft we did all year?
I would take Maui Noah all day, every day over Delane or McCoy.
I don't know if I can get behind it.
I'm
not that opposed to a corner.
I'd rather if I'm going to invest
I'm just
early,
saying,
I'm
because
investing in trenches.
Just because
Trenches win the games.
Just because you can develop corners late don't mean that you give up on good talent, is all I'm trying to say. Like, if it's the best player on the board, I'm not that scared of it. Like, I don't care.
Do you think?
Like, what's the worst that could happen? You get maybe you don't get Trent McDuffie, but maybe you get
McCoy on your board, though.
On my big board?
Yeah, on the big board. Where do you have them? Because I'm not going to have a corner on mine before 15, probably.
McCoy's 9 and Munster Delane's 11 on my big board.
Really?
They're right there in the wheelhouse. Who are you putting in front of them? I've got Maui Noah after McCoy. I've got Maui Noah at 10. And I've got Munster Delaney at 11. Okay. So there's that. And then after him, I've got Makai Lemon at 12. Oli Ione from Penn State at 13. Fano at 14. Kenyon Sadiq at 15. Omar Cooper at 16. Jordan Tyson at 17. Monroe Freeling. Peter Woods at 19.
Do you have
Dylan
the
Thieneman at
sinking
20.
feeling, though? Like, to me, I feel like Freeling and Caden Proctor should be higher.
I mean, they may go up. I did this big board 3 weeks ago. I've not yet to round it out, but I'm just saying they're not going to move that much.
You don't think that they might get into the top 15, though?
I mean, they could, but Monroe Freeling's not going to go from 18 to top 10. Like, he's not going to jump Jermod McCoy for me. I just can't get there. If anything, McCoy got bigger. I used to have McCoy at about 14 or 15, and when he actually showed up healthy at his pro day, he then jumped to the number 10, number 9 player.
Slam and Sammy says Delane is to cornerback what Tate is to wide receiver. What do you mean by that, Sammy?
What, overrated?
I'm intrigued. I want to know what you mean.
I think once you see this, okay, so look, everybody is, and this is the draft in general. Just let me say this in general. Everybody's looking at all these players. We've watched them. I'm going to tell you right now, 99 out of 100 people have not sat down and watched extensive all-22 film. They've not watched full games. What have they done? They went to YouTube. They've clicked some highlights. They've scrolled on X.
Right, yeah.
They've listened to their favorite person tell them who was good and who was bad, and they watch their clip, and they read their few little, their blurbs about them. But they've all fell in love with certain players. So, for example, man, I really love Zion Young. Zion Young could be just as good as Ruben Bain. Well, if that was the case, then why is nobody talking about Zion Young being a top 5 pick?
Yeah, no.
So, look, is it possible? Absolutely. It's possible that there could be, let me just scroll down. It's possible that the number 250 player on my big board, which is J. Michael Sturdivant from Florida, 6'3", 209X wide receiver. It's possible that he could be the best wide receiver in this entire class, and Elijah Surratt stinks. It's possible. It's a never say never kind of thing. But all I'm saying is you got to go by what you watch. So when I put all this time and effort into this and I grade this is what I'll tell you. This draft is not very good. Once you get it past maybe 4 or 5 players, it's a total crapshoot. Like, it doesn't matter who I'm taking at number 9. I can absolutely take Kenyon Sadiq at number 9. And guess what? He could be horrible. I could take I could take Cardinal Tate at number 9. He could be downright horrible. I could take Monroe Freeling. He could be horrible.
On Carnell Tate being good because he's an Ohio State receiver. I think people are putting a lot of stock into that.
I think that Carnell Tate,
Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave,
Carnell Tate's ceiling,
Jackson Smith and Jigba
is T. Higgins. He's at best the best wide receiver 2 of the league. He's not a top 10 pick, but yeah, he's going to be in this draft. Yeah. Because this draft's not very good.
I think
that's what I keep trying to say.
110%. You need to move up. If you don't move up, you need to move up almost every other pick. We have too much draft capital. I don't think that you should draft too many people in this one. I think at the very, very max, you should draft 7. I don't know if you should really go 8.
Yeah, like I think you got to get up and you got to get. You need to get to the top 4 picks and you need to get your pass rusher.
I think you have to
quick. And if you want to double up, fine. If you want to double up another pass rusher at 40, go for it. If you want to go to Bain, and then at 29, you want to move up, you want to get Chris Johnson, and then you want to move up again at 40 and get Zion Young again at like 36, go for it. I don't give a shit. Because guess what? The rest of the guys you pick are just throwing a dart at the dartboard anyway. Chandler Rivers could be complete ass. I like him. He's a my guy, but he could be ass in the league. You never know. Like, I'm not going to sit here and fight for people and, like, tell people they're dumb for having, like, I see that a lot. If you take a player that people don't like, oh, he's a bust, he's ass. Like, what are you doing? You don't know shit, bro. It's the 10th of April and ain't a single player playing the NFL 1 snap. You can't tell me right now that somebody's a surefire hit and a surefire bust. You can't do it. It's impossible. Yeah. But what you can do is say, look, there's 3 or 4 really good players in this draft that have the best probability of being good, blue chippers. We're not going to take the running back one. So go get Caleb Downs. If he falls to you, take him. And go get one of the Bailey or Bain and be done with it. Yep. Like, get one of the 4 best players in this draft and be done with it.
Jadwin says, who's the disappointments for you at number 9? To me, and
if they take Keldrick Falk, that would be horrible.
Keldrick Falk would make me smash my TV. Cornerbacks are going to irritate me. What else would bug me? I mean, honestly, where I'm at with it, like, if you can get one of the top couple of pass rushers, I'm okay. If you could get, even if they had to settle on offensive tackle and take Maui Noah or somebody like that, I wouldn't be mad. Like, I mean, if you're invested in trenches, I think that's kind of, I think it's smart actually to use your high draft capital on trenches.
Look,
And
say
then
yes
start
or
looking
no.
at corners, start looking at wide receivers and stuff a little later.
Disappointed, yes or no? I'm just going to read it. Caleb Downs.
No, that's too good a value.
Ruben Bain.
No,
Jeremiah Love. Yeah.
no, I wouldn't be disappointed. No,
But it's too much money. I feel like that's a waste. I feel like
pay them all that much.
Yeah, but I still like that'd be a huge waste. David Bailey, no. Arvell Reese, kind of.
I wouldn't be too mad at Arvell Reese. I would hope that we'd be able to use him because I think he's a great player. I think
Right.
he's going to be good.
Sonny Styles.
I wouldn't be mad at it, but I don't like linebacker at 9 either.
Right. That's no better than tight end, but people's completely fine with that one.
Right, yeah.
Carnell Tate. Probably not
I
horrible.
wouldn't be mad, but
Francis Maui Noah. You just said you wouldn't be that
No,
mad.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
McCoy and Delane, you said you would be mad. Makai Lemon. Probably not.
Nah, I could deal.
Fano, I would kind of be irritated with
I
Fano.
don't like Fano now.
Sadiq, no, I don't think we would be mad about it. Would you be crazy to take Jordan Tyson? Would you be mad at that?
No, actually, no. Hey, and Peter Schrager said that that's what he's got as our number 9 pick, and Peter Schrager has a lot of ends.
What about Peter Woods at 9? You think that's too early?
I think it's a little too early, but I would.
You're getting down to my number 19th player on the board because I skipped Oli Ione. And what about Omar Cooper at 9? What if the Chiefs said, look, we're taking Omar Cooper. He's the first wide receiver on our board.
That's fine if that's what they think. I wouldn't be mad about it. But at the same time, I'd be like, it's pretty sketch. So my thing with Peter Woods is an intriguing one for me because you just said, would you be mad if you took him at 9? And it's like, I don't know if I'd be super mad about it, but and here's the reason why. A lot of people are under the impression because they do a lot of these mock drafts on PFF or what have you. They think that Peter Woods is going to be there at 29. End of story. Like you can get him at 29. That's not going to happen on draft night.
Right.
Peter Woods is not going to be there by 29. I'd almost bet he will not be there by 29.
I don't either.
There's
Emmanuel.
no way. How can you be the best defensive tackle in the draft and be there at 29? I just don't see it.
Right. Emmanuel McNeil Warren from Toledo. I would not be too bummed about him at 29. I think that's good value, honestly. I think he's pretty decent.
He's pretty good.
Dude, a lot of people have this mentality, JMC. So let's do another 423 mock drafts. It's boring shit. Yeah, look, a lot of Chiefs fans think a lot of things is boring.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm going to say this. You guys will get on every day and watch somebody read news from X and act like it's not boring. So what's the point? What's the big deal about doing mock drafts? Like mock drafts, you need to know the players. Like, look, even if you draft 5 players at the end of this and 400 other players that you've heard about go to other teams, oh, I'm sorry, you got some football knowledge. Now you're going to understand who's all playing for other teams. Like, it's really nothing to, like, it's not that big of a deal. But Chiefs fans do hate mock drafts because obviously all of our draft content, people just shit on it and nobody watches it. Like, you guys just want to watch rah-rah, hoop-de-hoo, cheerleader shit. And it's like, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, like, it's still football and it's a big part. And the NFL designs it like this. They design it for us to have 2 or 3 months of draft content. That's what they want.
Well, you're going to have a lot of draft content when your team sucks ass and they're out of contention.
Yeah, when
before
we're out by
Christmas.
Thanksgiving, bro.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it is kind of boring, but damn.
Yeah. I think people that hate draft content or people that say things like that, I think they are new fans. They have no concept
You
of
definitely didn't grow up in the era where the Chiefs Super Bowl was the draft every freaking
Right.
year.
They're new fans, and I think they probably prefer to watch content where the guys don't have much knowledge about the draft.
Well, yeah, why would you?
Like they would rather watch somebody, like you said, that's just reading them the news. You know? But there is no news. That's the funny part.
Yeah, that's
there's
the
no
thing.
news.
Like, there's
so they're
nothing
just
to talk
blowing
about
smoke.
Chiefs related.
Blowing smoke up your ass anyway.
Like, what's the last big news thing we've had?
They signed
There ain't been
Kyrie Elam.
Yeah, that's been it. Kyrie Elam.
Yeah. They just want to. Y'all want a player that might get you a little horny, and y'all want to put a split jersey on them, one with the Chiefs and one where they play now, and talk about what if. What if? That's what we should do.
There's just not anything to talk about besides it.
No, it's
Like,
draft time, baby. It's April the 10th.
Yeah. I don't know what else you're supposed
Yeah,
to
Jake
do.
Rice not getting suspended was probably the last big news. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
That was it. That was after Kyrie Elam, so for sure.
But yeah, look, and I'm not bashing Cole at all. But he made an entire video a day ago that 45,000 people watched, and he literally made a full video about somebody trying to say that we were going to trade for Dexter Lawrence. Bro, has that even been talked about at all? Like, who made that up? Who the hell made up Dexter Lawrence coming to the Chiefs? Like, we couldn't even afford that. So, why are we watching that?
Makes their Peters tingle. Mikey likes stuff with a 10 bomb. Says if we draft a defensive end at 9, then better restructure Creed and or George so they can go get Cam Jordan on a 1 year to combine with defensive end at 29. So you're saying if they don't draft a defensive end at 9, that they need to do something to get Cam Jordan. I wouldn't be mad at Cam Jordan. I think that one makes a lot more sense because he's not going to be as expensive. Obviously, he's older, but he had really good production last year. And the Chiefs, when they were at their best, were utilizing this strategy. When the Chiefs were winning Super Bowls, they were utilizing the strategy of getting an older, experienced defensive end to rotate in. They did it with Melvin Ingram. They did it with Terrell Suggs. They did it with Carlos Dunlap.
Dude, do you think, though, like the Chiefs have not shown any desire, which is so weird. We have not showed a speck of desire to bring in anybody to help our pass rush at defensive end.
That's why I'm saying I think that it's almost pass rusher bust right up front.
Yeah, I think that they might try to draft both of them. Maybe they give up their whole draft for 3 and 4. Like, I don't know what they're going to do, but they got to do something.
They're going to have to.
Dude, Karlaftis and Gelati's just not going to produce that many sacks. Yeah, that's what Mickey's saying. Right now, it's Karlaftis and Gelati. Like, I love Gelati as much as the next guy. But if you tell me, is Gelati going to have 10-plus sacks next year, I'm going to probably take the under on that and go to the bank.
Yeah.
Hell, I'd probably take the under on George Karlaftis at 10.5 sacks next year.
Bro, did you see? I just wanted to bring this up real quick. Did you see where Charles Omenihu was talking trash on Lamar Jackson?
Why does he talk trash on anybody?
Exactly. Let me tell you what he said. He's like, the league has Lamar Jackson figured out. Just rush 5 people at him, and he's going to run backwards and make a bad play. But Josh Allen, no one can figure Josh Allen out. Josh Allen's great.
He just throws up lucky-ass move balls.
That's what Charles Omenihu said, and I was sitting here thinking, like...
This is why this idiot's gone.
Look, bro, first of all, you can't talk about nobody, and you're just mad at Lamar because Lamar juked you so bad that you tore an ACL. That's what you're mad about, isn't it? Man, I don't hate a lot of people, but I really dislike Charles Omenihu. I feel like
he's got that attitude.
Dude, ever since we signed him, this guy, first of all, suspended for domestic violence. Then all he did was run his damn mouth about how great he was and how underpaid he was and people should be paying him more. And he never did shit, ever. And then he talked more shit after that about how great he was going to be coming back the next season and did less. And then he talked more shit and did less than that. And it's like, dude, I can't with you. Like, you are ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah. Like, so full of himself. Every time he did get a sack, he had to put on a 10-second show for everybody.
Because he didn't do many of it, dude.
Bro,
you have to
just
do
go
something.
sit down somewhere.
Dude, that was one of the worst signings Brent Veach has ever did.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Kind of sucked. I thought for a second he was going to be decent, just like Jake. Before the injury, I thought he was going to be okay. I was like, well, he kind of fits in. He's doing okay. And then he just shit the bed. Makes me sad.
I'm curious right now.
What?
I don't know how to find it.
What you looking for?
Oh, I was trying to look at our back end stuff on this. We've been live now for what? Like, why the hell are we been live for almost 3.5 hours on a Friday night? Like, I need to have dinner and
yeah, you need
I
to
need to hit up the
life,
masseuse or something.
You go have a life. That's great. Oh, well, let's get off here. let Mike go have a life. He put in some work today. I know I was late to the party, but we're going to have more Sunday night. Like I said, we'll probably do our mock draft 2.0s where we're trying to predict what the Chiefs are going to do. So we'll give you our second version of that. We'll have a little bit more draft talk. Maybe doubt there's going to be any kind of news this weekend, but whatever. We'll talk about whatever with you guys and all that stuff. Appreciate everybody that donated and gifted out memberships. You guys are awesome. Thanks for the support. We appreciate you guys more than you know. But thanks for everybody that hung out the whole time with Mike, too, during this whole draft thing he did with the guys from Arrowhead Addict. Are you doing it with them tomorrow, too, or no? Are they just doing the rest?
We're drafting offline. I don't know how much I'm thinking about just letting them go. They're talking about drafting running backs and tight ends and shit, and I don't care. Do you really want a tight end in the fourth or like in the fifth or sixth round again? Like, if I don't get a good tight end, I don't even want him anymore. I'm tired of bad tight ends.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, dude. Like, after the Jared Wiley thing, you're going to have to do better.
And I think they
both want
to take another shot at a corner. We've already drafted 2 of the damn things.
Mike, I was watching.
I don't want another corner.
Like, after work, I stopped to eat real quick before I came and jumped on the live. I wasn't sure how much of y'all that draft y'all were doing tonight, so I was like, I'm going to eat real quick, and then I'm going to get in there. I don't know how long I'm going to be on. And I actually got on. I don't know if you saw my comment, but you were talking about getting Jeremy Bernard, and they were going on about corners and stuff. And I was like, how many corners do y'all want to draft?
That's
like,
my
please,
point.
for the love of God, just take Bernard and let's go.
And we'll get Chandler Rivers at 98. And that's a steal. And take Bernard. Let's move on, bro. And don't get one in day 3 either. Like, let's do something different. I'd rather take more pass rushers. Like, good Lord. Jeremy Bernard better be able to rush the passer or we're in trouble.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you on Sunday night. Come hang out with us. Hit that like button on the way out if you haven't already. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And shout out Prize Picks for sponsoring tonight's live stream. So go get Prize Picks. Use the code HMA when you're signing up. And we'll see you Sunday night. Go Chiefs.
Wow.